Welcome, everybody, to No Outside Food Allowed, episode 8.
What?
Or in Eddie's case,
What?
episode 7.
You guys recorded episode 7 without me.
Where were you, bro?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But I got my favorite doctor and everything ready.
Oh, what doctor was that?
Dr. Pepper, of course.
Heyo.
He's had the most effect on my life. I gained 50 pounds on that guy.
Did we ever figure out if there was actually a Dr. Pepper?
Probably. I mean, it was probably used as a cure-all back in the day when people were selling
does he have a brother or
snake
cousin?
oils and stuff. Yeah, he does have a brother. His name's Mr. Pibb.
Oh,
He had a different dad.
different
And
daddy.
he also dropped out of college.
Yeah, how do you know this?
The
Just
Googles.
Just a wealth of
He's the-
random knowledge.
That's right.
Anyway, we're here to give you our thoughts and opinions on everything in entertainment, games, and movies. Today we're going to be talking DLCs, downloadable content, and whether or not that's a good or bad thing for the industry. We'll talk Infinity War a little bit. They moved the release date and how that's going to affect the rest of the box office. We'll talk a little tech and what we're looking forward to. And lastly, we're going to cover books. I know, with words and stuff.
What? What are those?
What are
I don't
those?
even know, but-
Indeed.
Possibly we'll give you some good recommendations.
Enjoy the smell of the books. The books smell so good,
A new book smell is always the best. The same as like opening a new game.
right?
That's true.
You smell your games?
Well,
Don't you?
I have
No.
nose.
I don't.
Well, like when I go places, my nose just works. So like when I open it, it just has a scent that wafts.
Put your
up.
face in there and you get a waft of it? Or
No, I don't just
he
stick
does that.
motorboats it.
Stick
He
my-
motorboats the game.
He does that to
Oh.
everything.
everything, you know. New dog, I just walk up, and shove my face in his face.
Thanks for being here, everybody. I'm Adam, or the Bugs Bunny of this Toon Squad.
Oh,
With
Sam.
me, as always, Sam Lim,
Yosemite Sam.
Chris Felix,
Daffy.
Oh, hell no. We're fighting.
and Eddie McGowan.
I'm Michael Jordan.
See,
In the Space Jam
I specifically left that one out, but that's
Oh, my
fine. That's fine.
Oh, my favorite Looney Tune was taken. So.
So we're missing Chris Gagne today. He's checking out the True False Film Festival in Columbia, Missouri. We're gonna
Out on
get,
assignment.
Out on assignment, right. We're going to get a full report from him next week. That should be fun. I've never been to a film festival before, so.
Well, we
Really?
worked
Well, we
them.
worked
so
them
Sure.
before.
Well,
but
we worked them, but
I never saw any of those movies, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they...
I think the
We'll
most
pick
important
up.
part of the film festival is the after party, right?
that's
most
more
important
like what we went.
Okay.
Still wasn't a part of that either.
Me neither.
Nah.
You just didn't know the right people,
I
bro.
wasn't-
You guys missed out.
I worked there with you guys. What the hell?
Yeah, I know, right? It was
Yeah.
because I was taken at the time, so I would just go home.
You had the ball and chain.
Well, you go home to your game system and your
That's true. I did
anime.
play a lot of games. I didn't watch a lot of anime back then.
Really?
Yeah, well, Crunchyroll wasn't like a huge thing when I was 19.
It was hard to get to the good animes back then. It was
That
either
was like-
Toonami or nothing.
Yeah, or $40 VHS with 2 episodes of Dragon Ball.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, yes.
And
I've
one
been
of them
there.
was Goku yelling for 30 minutes
Right.
as he turned Super Saiyan 3.
I think the worst was the Frieza saga, right? Namek
5
was
minutes.
exploding for like how
That
many
was
episodes?
I watched that live on Toonami.
For
And
months.
it was
months.
literally there was I mean the part that made me laugh the most was when I think it was like 6 episodes in and Frieza's like and Goku's like, "Huh, I guess you couldn't do it." And Frieza's like, she's a bigger planet than I thought. It'll be another 3 minutes." I'm like, "Fuck, we're here for another summer."
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad as the Boo saga. At least that was like really intense and went somewhere. Boo did go somewhere, but that dragged on so bad.
You went through a lot of forms.
But you know, we
Yeah.
did get to see the thing that we wanted to see, which was Goku versus
Versus
Vegeta
Vegeta?
again.
Yeah, Majin Vegeta. That was great.
And the fusion of the two.
Yeah, that's true.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Because he held that
Good stuff.
spirit
I
bomb
love-
for so long. At the very end, I was like, just drop it.
I think he just wanted to watch
building
Vegeta
suspense.
get beat up for that whole time. Here, hold him off for me for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm working the spirit bomb, bro. It's on the way. Yeah, totally.
Alright,
Just
totally.
got 3 more episodes. I'll have it ready.
Just get your ass kicked for a little bit.
It's like the way my bank account's set up. The spirit bomb is available on a
It's like-
different day.
Like being friends with Goku has its benefits and its drawbacks. The drawback is every once in a while he's gonna be like 8 episodes late, so you gotta fight the guy.
I don't
Somebody's
think Goku would be a good friend, honestly. Yeah, he's,
not
he's
bringing all the
always
trouble.
late.
He's
He's
mindless.
just
I
always
mean,
leaving his family behind. He's completely irresponsible.
oh yeah,
Well, plus-
he's the worst father.
Plus, he'll
Piccolo,
kill your fridge. Like whatever you have in the fridge can be gone, dude. He's gonna
Oh, yeah.
eat everything.
Hey, he'll
Piccolo-
totally raid your fridge.
Piccolo, best dad and granddad. Actually, if you watch the new shows where he's taking care of Gohan's kid,
Yeah.
best dad.
Still fucking dying for fucking Gohan all the time. Or Piccolo.
I like the picture you said, the
Gohan.
original Suicide Squad.
Right. Krillin, Yamcha, and
It should just be those
Tien.
two.
Well,
Just- well, Tien dies a lot
Tien
too.
dies a couple times, and so does
Chaozu?
Chaozu. I mean, that's literally all,
All
he
the-
does.
all
His
the
special
B-range.
move is killing himself. Like,
Oh yeah, he self-destructs. I
Yeah.
totally forgot about that.
Latches on your back and explodes.
That's
if
funny.
you want some real entertainment, though, watch the YouTube series, the DBZ Abridged.
Yes, I've seen
It is
those.
the best.
So
The
bad.
best show ever.
Well, we definitely covered a lot of anime in, was it 2 episodes ago? Go
Yes.
back and check that one out.
For sure.
Lots of recommendations there.
Mhm.
Let's talk a little bit of Oscars. That's actually on like right now as we're recording, I
really?
believe.
Yes, start at 5
Uh,
o'clock.
Yeah. So
Shit.
what we wanted to do was Felix is going to bring up the ballot, and we're just kind of go down and see what we think's going to win. We haven't really seen much movies, and unfortunately, Gagne's not here. He's the one that's seen them all.
He's
The
the movie guy.
guru's out of town.
But
So
we're just going to see how close we can get to picking off some winners.
we're just gonna take wild guesses.
That's
That's
right.
what we're saying because we
We're,
have no idea.
we're gamblers. We live in Vegas.
That's what we
Let's
do.
go.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just run down real quick. No need for special opinions because we haven't seen most of these.
Gotcha.
So let's start with the big one. Best picture. We have
You
Call
just
Me
wanna
by Your
start
Name.
at the best one. Okay.
No, I'll go to the bottom. Just for you, Adam. I'm gonna start at the very bottom.
I mean, you got to build some suspense or something.
Best sound mixing. Do you want to do that?
Yeah. Go for
Oh,
it.
sure,
Go for
because
it.
I think Baby Driver's on there.
And it was actually what I voted for. It was Baby Driver, Blade Runner 2049,
Yes.
Dunkirk, The Shape of Water, and Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Nothing controversial about that.
Okay. I've actually seen most of those movies, surprisingly. I would vote for Blade Runner. I really enjoyed that movie, and
a good
the
one.
soundtrack was
I'm
awesome.
going to go with Blade Runner for sound.
I'm going to take Baby Driver just to be different.
I
I
actually-
haven't seen
Hey.
any of those movies.
Oh, you haven't seen it? That's
Oh,
right.
not
I
even-
did choose
oh,
Baby
yeah,
Driver.
it's
Though.
Star-
Yeah, I didn't
Star
go
Wars
to. I didn't go to a
even
lot of theater movies that weren't superhero
Blockbusters.
movies.
Yeah.
Movies.
Well, let's see what happens.
I think
But,
Baby Driver was awesome too, but Blade Runner gets my vote.
That was a really good one. I'm actually looking at the stats right now. Dunkirk is sitting at 44% of the votes. Shape of Water is in last with 8%. Baby Driver's at 23%. Blade Runner is at 11%.
Kind of surprising.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised. Dunkirk actually did have a really good sound mix.
Yeah, it's probably
Film was
true.
just overall, it was just okay to me. I don't know. It wasn't my favorite.
I haven't seen that one.
But anyways, moving on, we have costume design. You care?
Yeah, let's hear that one.
Oh, sure. We have Beauty and the Beast, Darkest Hour, Phantom Thread, The Shape of Water, and Victoria and Abdul.
Voting Shape of Water in that one.
I'll go Beauty and the
There's a
Beast.
lot of period pieces in there. I actually would go Beauty and the Beast too.
I
That's
actually
what I
saw
went
that
for.
movie and saw it. I liked it.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have cinematography.
Yep.
Okay. Blade Runner 2049,
Yep.
Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Mudbound, and The Shape of Water.
Gonna be Blade Runner.
That's my pick.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Shoot. I enjoy both of those between Blade Runner and Shape of Water. Oh, man.
That's a tough one. That could be a coin flip. I think.
That, for me, I'm stuck in the middle on that one, guys. What about you, Eddie?
I'm just gonna go with Dunkirk just because
there you go.
All right.
the director.
What's the percentage there? Felix?
43% for Dunkirk, actually.
Really?
Yep. 26% for Blade Runner, 20% for Shape of Water.
Okay. I guess I got to see Dunkirk.
Anyways, moving on, production design. We have Beauty and the Beast, Blade Runner 2049, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, and Shape of Water.
Out of the same
That's
ones
a lot
there.
of same ones.
Blade Runner.
Since I watched Blade Runner with Adam, I have to go with Blade Runner because the production piece was
Oh, yeah.
huge. The sets, the scenery,
Yeah, it looks pretty epic.
and the
Yeah.
and the tech, because it was like digital tech and live tech too combined together.
Practical
So
effects. Yeah.
it was really good effects, man.
Yeah. And honestly, like I had watched the original Blade Runner not too long before I saw 2049,
Okay.
and like really, like they look so much
pretty close.
similar.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
especially
The feeling is-
vehicles.
and the
Yeah.
mood is still the
Man.
same.
And it's not just like saying how great 2049 is. That's a testament to how great Blade Runner stands up, you know, as far as a film and production.
Science
Oh,
fiction.
definitely. I think the director for this one actually he honored the original Blade Runner
Oh, yeah.
really well.
Well, he said he needed to make it because anybody else would fuck it up. I think that was his quote or something like that.
Yeah.
He said that he needs to make this movie.
Yeah.
But anyways, Blade Runner is leading with 33% in
Nice.
that category.
Sweet.
So moving
It's gonna go
on,
with something there.
It's going to win something,
Yeah.
absolutely. Original score?
Sure.
We have Dunkirk, Phantom Thread, The Shape of Water, Star Wars: The Last Jedi. And-
Dunkirk's gonna take it.
One more, 3 billboards outside of Ebbing, Missouri.
Dunkirk.
Dunkirk, probably. If I was a
Yeah.
gambling man.
But I've seen 2 of these,
Yeah.
and Star Wars was fine.
Star Wars
Yeah.
is Star Wars,
It's-
but I mean,
exactly.
it's not gonna surprise
John
anyone.
Williams is always going to be great, and
Yeah.
you know that
That's
score
very
was,
true.
it's very Star Wars, and so
Yeah, so
Um,
people get
It
used
has
to
a
it.
chance.
I mean,
yeah, it does.
Probably Dunkirk though.
Film editing,
Yes.
Baby Driver, Dunkirk,
Yes.
I, Tanya, The Shape of Water, three billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri.
I'm gonna go with Baby Driver just for the opening sequence.
I'm with you on
alone.
that.
That's the
was
first thing I
amazing.
thought of was that opening sequence of Dunkirk. I mean, sorry, not Dunkirk. Baby Driver,
Driver.
when he's dancing in the streets.
It was so good.
Not a spoiler.
Haven't
but
seen any of the other stuff, but that was an amazing
It
scene.
was a great
Oh, yeah.
sequence.
It was only one shot, I believe, too. So
It was a
I think
single
it was
shot.
one long
so-
take. Yeah.
You're gonna enjoy it, Eddie. You're gonna enjoy this.
I'm excited. I'm going to be watching a lot of movies this
It's
week.
great.
I got
I love it.
Big Sick, Baby Driver, and Sicario.
Oh
Ooh,
yes,
I thought to watch that one,
Sicario,
too.
bro.
I don't know which one to start because
I'm going to start with Baby Driver. just
Okay.
'cause-
Yeah,
that one could be a good palate cleanser.
Start with
'cause
the
Sicario's
lighthearted
pretty
stuff.
brutal.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, those
So
are the
start
type
with the
movies I
lighthearted
like.
stuff and save Sicario last because Sicario is fucking
Oh.
heavy. Like I can honestly say Sicario is one of the first few movies in a long time where I'm on edge the whole time trying to figure out what the hell is going on. You know, you're like, what's gonna happen next?
Dude,
Oh,
Benicio
crap.
del Toro is
He's amazing.
Well, that's the thing is, I saw the
Beast.
trailer. I saw the trailer for the new one, and I was like,
like maybe I
okay,
should see the first
should
one.
probably
Yeah.
see the
I'm
first
with
one.
you on that. I haven't seen the first one.
just
either.
for him alone, and
Yeah.
just wait till you
Oh
see
yeah, I
the
love
end.
Benicio.
Well,
It's
him and
ridiculous.
Thanos, dude. Thanos was amazing.
Josh Brolin.
He had the gauntlet in that movie.
Oh, definitely. He beat some ass
Yeah,
in that
dude.
movie.
It was like stopping time. It was crazy. I didn't understand how they were related, but
He
I'm
busted out a
excited.
gun. Like it was crazy, dude.
Speaking of Brolin, I actually saw the Goonies again this weekend for the first time in so many years. Completely forgot he was in that.
I know, right? He's
Oh,
like the older
man.
brother.
Yeah, he's the
Yep.
oldest brother.
It's funny.
Anyways, film editing. We're on
Film editing.
I chose Baby Driver,
Yeah,
but Dunkirk is in the lead with 45%.
Well, those people were wrong.
Well, I can actually, when you watch it, I mean,
those
I
people
can
are
kind
the
of see
Academy.
that.
Sam.
I mean,
Well, they're
that's
wrong.
the guy who did the Dark Knight.
It's Christopher Nolan. There's some
Christopher
really
Nolan is.
there's some really good shots in that movie. Anyways, moving on, visual effects.
Yep.
Okay, we have Blade Runner once again, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, Kong Skull Island, Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and War for the Planet of the Apes.
Okay, wow, I've actually seen all of those.
I have two actually. It's very rare.
These are really hard choices
It's a
because
good one.
they're really good effects.
I'm torn between two on this.
Which
Actually.
two are you torn between?
Blade Runner and War for the Planet of the Apes, because watching War for the Planet of the Apes, that's still one of my favorite movies of last year, and you kind of forget you're watching a bunch of CGI animals
apes.
after a while. Like the acting
They
is
actually
just
have-
so good, and just the way they designed the animation of the apes,
It
you
was pretty
forget that you're
flawless.
watching- Yeah,
Oh,
it's
definitely, definitely.
fantastic.
The CG of the apes interaction with the humans, dude, like it's flawless. The
Yeah.
transition, like I thought it was amazing. Andy Serkis again, dude,
Mhm.
Yeah,
amazed me.
the CGI expressions now are so realistic.
It's like subtle like effects. You know, it's not
Yes.
like full on spectacle Star Wars and all that. It's just like
shades of
facial
gray now.
animations.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it's so amazing.
I'd say for me, it'd be a draw too between Planet of the Apes and I'm gonna lean with Guardians too, just because all the different aliens and all the different worlds they went to or how they did their effects, it was really good. Plus the massive Pac-Man.
I haven't seen any of the Planet of the Apes movies.
Oh, really?
Really?
Yeah,
Eh,
like I knew they were
you
going
haven't
to be
missed
good.
out on
like,
too much, but-
yeah, but
I'm gonna put
Go
up a
watch them.
wall.
They're great.
The wall's coming up right now. We can't talk to you.
Go watch them all. They're very good. I forget the order of them because
It starts
I
with
think-
Mark Wahlberg, right?
No, it's,
yeah,
No.
I
No,
don't,
not that
actually,
one. No,
I've
no,
seen
no,
that
no.
one.
not the Tim Burton one. No.
Tim
Forget
Burton,
that movie.
his confused version.
Watch them with James Franco first. I think that's Dawn.
Yeah,
What?
Franco.
Mark
Is it Dawn or is it
Wahlberg
Rise?
one.
I think it's
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and then
Yeah.
So they're all good. Watch them. Anyways, sound editing.
yeah, sure. That's
Okay.
kind of one of the
Baby
basic
Driver.
ones, right?
Baby Driver's in there.
There you go.
We also have Blade Runner, Dunkirk,
Ugh.
Shape of Water, and Star Wars.
I'm gonna
Okay, I'm sure
Blade
Dunkirk's gonna
Runner.
lead again, but I'm gonna
Sure
choose
is.
Blade Runner.
go Dunkirk sounds like it's gonna take a few, huh?
It's nominated for quite a bit.
I think
it's
I
sitting
think
at
Blade Runner
45%.
just because I haven't seen Dunkirk, but Blade Runner had amazing sound editing.
Well, yeah, with all the synthesized tunes they use,
Oh, yeah.
it really sets the freaking mood.
The
and
tone, the
scenery.
theme of that, it's just like the old one.
Yeah.
And like I said,
I
I
feel
guess
like
I'll have to go
that's-
see Dunkirk.
Yeah, that's one. I feel like that's one that's going to be overlooked, but I feel like it's going to be between Blade Runner and Dunkirk.
Right.
But again, this is what I've seen.
What else we got?
Adapted screenplay.
Yeah,
It literally
that's
wasn't.
usually where we're gonna find the good films.
I have to mention this one because of one particular movie, Logan. Logan is on this
Absolutely.
category.
Logan.
There you
We have
go.
Oh,
Logan. We
nice.
have The
Original.
Disaster Artist. We have Call Me by Your Name, Molly's Game, and Mudbound.
I hope Logan wins
Logan.
this one.
I hope Logan.
Please, they gotta
yeah,
give it
yeah.
some.
I have to go over
It
Logan.
was such a good movie.
I don't
was
think
so
it will.
And it was a
That's
good
me being
original.
realistic, but
Yeah.
I want it to win. So
It's a unique original screenplay. You know, the guy
Yeah,
he
it,
took.
it wasn't
he
just
took
a
from it,
superhero
but-
movie.
Yeah, and made it his own.
It was
Yeah.
such a great final act.
It was so dramatic.
and yeah, for,
Had you
for
know
that character.
that noir feel to it.
and that says so much about, like, think about it. Like when somebody wrote a comic book film and that's being honored because of its writing,
Yep.
not just
Oh, I
for
know.
the spectacle,
Not just
and all
for
that, the
graphics,
writing.
yeah.
That's
Yep.
fantastic.
You know, you see Guardians of the Galaxy in there for effects.
Yeah,
So you're not going to
exactly.
see it in there for the
You're not
writing.
going to see score, all that
Exactly.
stuff. Like, no, this is
Exactly.
for what's in writing. That's great.
huge.
So
Yeah, I
let's
hope
go for
Logan
Logan.
wins that one.
Root for Logan. But anyways, Call Me by Your Name's at 49%.
Really?
So,
Dang it.
so yeah, we'll see what happens.
What's Logan at?
It is at 13%, tied with Mudbound
Wow.
and just behind the Disaster Artist with 14%.
Bummer.
Molly's Game is at 9%. So, anyways, moving on. Original screenplay.
Okay.
We have The Big Sick, Get Out, Lady Bird, The Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards.
I hope the Big Sick wins.
I'm tied between The Big Sick and Get Out. Because they're both good.
Oh yeah,
I've seen one of these.
Yeah, I haven't,
Let's get
seen.
out.
I saw what is it?
Shape of
Shape
Water's
of
on
Water.
there.
So I saw Shape of Water.
Yeah.
I didn't really like that anyway, so
Let's say
I'm
Get
gonna
Out.
go with Get Out just
Yeah.
because I've heard really good things about it.
It's good. It's I mean, I kind of saw the twist coming. It was pretty obvious to me, but just the story as a whole was original, and I
Yeah.
did enjoy it. It's good to see something like that.
I love Kumail Nanjiani, and I know it's his and his wife's story. I'm hoping.
I've heard so many good things about this. I really do want to watch this soon.
I'll let you borrow it after he's done with it.
Sweet. Cool. Well, Get Out is actually leading with 36%. So
Okay.
what
Nice.
happens
That's
there.
good. That's good to hear.
Yeah, I've heard it's good too. So
Best Supporting Actress.
Yep.
We have Mary J. Blige for Mudbound, Allison Janney for I, Tonya, Leslie Manville for Phantom Thread, Laurie Metcalf, how do you say her name? For
Metcalf.
Lady Bird, Octavia Spencer for The Shape of Water.
Shape of Water, just
Oh,
because
boy.
I'm just guessing.
Octavia
I
did
didn't
pretty
see any of
good.
them.
A sport character, like, she did a really good job.
She gets my vote just because
Yeah.
I've heard the most about that particular
Name
role.
recognition. Woo.
Yeah. Pretty much. Told you I wasn't going to go real in depth with this. Anyways, Best Supporting Actor.
Yeah, these
We-
are all the good ones.
So we have Willem Dafoe with The Florida Project, Woody Harrelson with 3 Billboards, Richard Jenkins for The Shape of Water, Christopher Plummer for All the Money in the World, Sam Rockwell for 3 Billboards.
Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell, just because I love that guy.
Yeah, we like Sam Rockwell.
Yeah. Sam seems pretty cool.
He's actually leading the polls with 40%. But the other name I've heard a lot for this category is Willem Dafoe. I haven't seen The Florida Project, nor do I know what it is, but I've heard nothing
Supposedly
but
a really
things
good
about him.
guy, and then people are like surprised that he can play a good person.
I love Willem Dafoe. He's a great psychotic
Oh, yeah.
person
Yeah.
in every movie
He's
I've ever seen
he's
him
got
in.
great range.
Yeah, so I mean, it'd be great to see him get recognized, but I'm all for Sam Rockwell winning.
He would have been a perfect Green Goblin had they just not had that stupid mask on him.
Oh yeah. Well, it was a different time.
Yes, it was.
We could probably get a real
Poor
Green Goblin.
Maguire.
Yeah. Moving on, we have actress in the leading role. So we have Sally Hawkins for The Shape of Water, Frances McDormand for 3 Billboards, Margot Robbie for I, Tonya. Wow, I'm gonna butcher this name.
Yeah.
Saoirse Ronan. Saoirse. I'm sorry. Lady Bird. And Meryl Streep for The Post.
That's stiff competition there.
Everyone know Meryl Streep's going to win. Because of name
No.
recognition.
I think she's been nominated
She's been-
more than anything else. I mean, she's only won a handful of them, right?
Well,
I
and
The
think.
fact that she's won a handful
Yeah.
when
Well,
other
I know.
people
I'm
haven't
just
won
saying,
any.
you know, but like the overall
Get some new
ratio of
blood,
ones to
okay.
being
She's
nominated.
only won a handful. Get out of here.
Well, whatever.
Who's
She's
in the- who's in the-
typical Oscar
She
bait.
basically
the
won
lead?
the Super Bowl of actors.
She's Tom Brady. of actresses. But Frances McDormand is actually leading with 44%.
okay.
Meryl
That's
Streep's
good.
only at 10%.
Yeah,
actually.
I don't
She's
think,
actually in last.
yeah,
Wow.
I don't think she's. I think
Well,
people were.
I
too
believe
impressed with
Gagne
that
said the
movie.
post was more for like, the nominations. Like
It's
they're gonna get
full-on
nominated
Oscar
type of thing. Yeah,
I mean,
Oscar
like
bait.
it's
Exactly.
Steven Spielberg.
They hit all the check boxes for that one.
yeah,
yeah.
Tom Hanks and Meryl
Yeah.
Streep.
Yeah, come on. Like it's just Oscar gold right there.
Yeah, we'll get to Tom Hanks, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Actor in a leading role. We have Timothy Chalamet for Call Me by Your Name, Daniel Day-Lewis for Phantom Thread, Daniel Kaluuya for Get Out, Gary Oldman for Darkest Hour, Denzel Washington, Roman J. Israel Esquire.
I think
Gary
Daniel
Oldman-
Day-Lewis is going to take it just because it's his last film, supposedly.
I really hope
His
he
final movie.
doesn't win just for that reason.
Yeah.
Like, just because it's the last movie doesn't
Yeah,
mean.
that-
I mean,
I don't
Woody
like
Ray
that kind of
Lewis?
stuff.
No, come on.
What do you Ray Lewis?
Well, I'm just saying the Academy. is
Gary,
gonna vote that
Gary
way.
Oldman needs to win one.
Gary
I think
Oldman's
Gary
awesome.
Oldman's going to take it. He's actually leading with
He's-
40%.
He's Drexel. Let's go.
Yeah, I think Gary Oldman's going to take this one. I haven't seen it, but I've heard nothing but good things
Yeah, I haven't-
about
yeah.
what he's done with Darkest Hour. So
Oh, dude, he looks totally different. Like, when I saw the trailer, I was like, holy shit, that's Gary Oldman.
He's such a
Yeah.
good character actor.
that's why they're going to win Best Makeup.
That's possible.
So, Best Director, we have Paul Thomas Anderson with The Phantom Thread, Guillermo del Toro with The Shape of Water, Greta Gerwig, Lady Bird, Christopher Nolan, Dunkirk, and Jordan Peele for Get Out.
I hope.
Wait,
I hope.
no Baby Driver? No Edgar Wright?
Nope.
Yeah,
Damn.
no
Was
Blade,
it
You know how
no
much you love
Blade
Edgar
Runner,
Wright, but he can't win them all.
no Logan.
I hope
no-
Get Out.
That's freaking dirty.
I hope Get Out wins, but I think they're
Guillermo,
probably gonna give it to PTA.
Guillermo's actually in the lead with 33%.
I was
Oh,
gonna
Guillermo.
go with
Oh, yeah,
Guillermo
the
del Toro.
PTA, he's only at
Interesting.
4%. He's
Oh,
actually
cool.
at the very
Good.
bottom of it. Jordan Peele's at 18%. I would love to see Jordan Peele win. I just,
Yeah, I kind of
I
like
kind of
him
feel
with
like
it.
he's sort of just, I don't want to call him filler. That's degrading, but he's just kind of one of those, let's just fill in the polls. You know, he's one of those we'd love to recognize, but I just don't think he's going to,
Right.
fortunately.
Yeah, it's fine.
So I think Guillermo might take it. I feel like he's the name
And The
that's
Shape of
tossed
Water is,
around the
like,
most.
everywhere.
It's a name that they like to use.
Yeah. So moving on, we have, Best Picture. Here we go.
There we go.
So
They nominate him for Ship of Water, but not for Pacific Rim. What a shame.
I mean,
Well, yeah.
very, very different movies.
Yeah.
I love
one of them's
Pacific
one of
Rim.
them is Oscar bait, and one of them's to masturbate. Come on, bro.
Whoa.
We have very, very different
went there.
ideas. of-
Whoa.
of getting
Wait,
out.
you guys don't masturbate to giant robots?
Sure don't. I enjoy giant robots. Just
I
not
didn't
the
know
way
you
you
enjoy
do.
him that much. Wow.
My bad.
I totally forgot where it was.
Best
I
Picture.
have that effect.
Robot sex. Anyways. So we have Call Me by Your Name, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Get Out, Lady Bird, Phantom Thread, The Post, Shape of Water, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
What's category?
Best
Best
Picture.
movie.
What's the category?
Movies I need to see.
Yeah.
Sounds like either Dunkirk or Darkest Hour is going to take that one.
I'm gonna vote for Darkest Hour.
I have no idea.
Just pick one, bro. Shine in the dark.
Let's go with Darkest Hour then. Just because I like Gary Oldman.
Yeah, Drexel.
And again, what I was saying about Jordan Peele earlier, I would love to see Get Out win. I don't
Don't
think
see
it's
the
going to happen.
chance.
Yeah.
No. But that's my vote. In the lead is The Shape of Water, though, with 20%, followed by
Boo.
3 Billboards at 17%. So 3 Billboards is one I really want to see. That's the other one that I hear the most like critical
things
acclaim
about.
about. So
Yeah.
I really do want to watch that real soon. And so there we go.
True Romance, man. Come on, Gary.
Well, speaking of movies, we saw a little movie this week. I don't know if you guys heard of it called, Death Wish.
Did you?
How
right,
was that?
right by Eli Roth.
It was
did?
definitely better than it looked like in the trailers.
Yeah, the trailers did not sell me, honestly.
So the only I would give this like a 7.5. Like it's a good movie. Definitely better than it deserved, especially from the trailers. The only problem was like tone, right? Like you've seen the trailer, you know his family dies, blah blah blah. Like they build this up, it's this serious movie, and then like he starts learning how to shoot guns and stuff, right? And he's
Via
watching
YouTube.
YouTube on how to clean his gun, and then all of a sudden
He's a professional at it.
ACDC kicks in, and there's like this weird tonal shift, and I'm like, okay, so are we watching an 80s action flick now? And then like immediately after that scene, back to being serious, like this serious movie. And then he's like killing people and blah 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 blah. And then there's the scene in the trailer where they have the cheesy, like super cheesy, line like they come like, are you gonna kill me? No, Jack is. And I'm like, are we back to the 80s? And I'm
That's
like,
just lazy
it's like he just
Yeah.
yeah. So
got
like
this kinda
like
up and
other
down
yeah,
nature
and it's
there.
but it's like these particular moments. Other than that, it's like almost like this really serious like revenge movie. So like other than those weird tonal shifts in those areas, I actually really enjoyed it.
Like, you can tell the suspense part because, it's directed by Eli Roth. So to see him do this type of movie was kind of cool, outside his box because it's always horror. But to see him do a action movie per se, don't get me wrong, it was gory, bloody, but like Eddie said, the tone was just hard to catch on.
Like he wanted to make fun of it or like an homage to it, but it was like not done right. Like he didn't do it the whole way. Like he didn't commit to the 80s cheese enough for it to be
He didn't pick like the one direction and stuck to it.
Yeah,
He
like-
kept jumping back and forth.
How was the violence? As far as Eli Roth goes, we know he's very much
Buckets of
graphic.
blood.
Yeah,
There's a
Oh,
lot of blood.
Definitely.
I mean, there could have been more, but
Yeah.
It could have been more. Was it like Kill Bill blood or
no, not even
Nah,
close.
not
It's
that
like
level.
Hostile. Like
No, it wasn't anything that
Minnesota?
bad. It wasn't. It was
Well,
like
What was that one scene where the guy fell?
I mean, there's some parts where you'll be like, ooh, but I mean, like Hostel made me want to throw up.
it
the
wasn't
first one.
just graphic for being graphic?
it wasn't like
Yeah,
torture
it wasn't
porn
that.
or
It wasn't
anything.
torture porn or
The
anything like
graphic parts did make sense because there's a scene where he gets shot and we watch him like restaple himself and
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, yes.
glue himself, and you're like, oh.
Oh, so this is more of the longs, like a Rambo. kind of
Yeah.
film.
Kind of, yeah.
Kinda.
Like it's a good movie. I definitely think it's worth watching or a rental.
It's a red box
But
film.
yeah, definitely.
And for once, Vincent D'Onofrio is not the bad guy. Like
Yeah.
for once, he
Oh.
is actually not the bad
My
guy.
biggest question: did Bruce Willis show up? Because we know he tends to phone in a lot of his roles nowadays. He's kind of just there. He doesn't really commit
This
to a
one,
lot of his roles.
this one, honestly, it's hard to tell due to the writing and the editing. So it's like 50-50.
That tone, like
Interesting.
right, like there's a part where something happens where someone's like talking to him and questioning him, and he's like, I don't know, and he's doing the fake cry, like Bruce Willis doing his crying kind of, but it's like, oh, it's comical. Like okay, literally in the first 5 minutes, I burst out laughing because, I mean, I know he's an actor, but like he's a doctor, right? Like I didn't know that.
Bruce Willis
He's a
is doctor.
surgeon. Exactly. We're sitting there.
It's like Mark Wahlberg as a genius engineer,
I'm
an
or
inventor.
farmer.
But right, but like it's like they're talking about Chicago. It's taking place in Chicago and all the murders and blah blah blah, all the shootings. And they're bringing someone in the emergency room and they're like paging doctor whatever, and like I'm just sitting there and I'm like watching, and it goes to him in the surgery room closing someone up, and he's like, okay, I'll go, and and I just start laughing because I'm like, Bruce Willis is a surgeon, like
Yeah.
that is not where I thought this was going.
Like it was it's so campy, oh, this happy family, and like they
Rich
do,
white guy.
Yeah, they do like subtle hints that he was a little bit violent in the past, but not anymore. Oh, man.
There was
Like,
a movie like that. Was that a History of Violence? Where he's kind of like,
Oh, History of Violence is way better. Way better.
History of Violence he was an ex gang member.
Yeah.
And then
yeah,
like he tried to get out of
It was
it,
a
right?
little more serious.
yeah. Like History of Violence was way different. dude.
They're like implying that he used to be violent, but like while they're implying that he used to be violent, he's like,
He's
yeah, I used
also
to
a
fight
doctor.
with my dad. I used to get my ass kicked all the time, right? Like he's like, I lost every fight. And I was like, well, that's not really.
Yeah.
He's not much of a
He's
badass.
supposed to be a pussy,
That's just lazy
and he's
writing.
like learning how to do all of this shit by basically practicing.
cool. Well,
Yeah.
what
But
would you-
it's worth checking out on Redbox, not there.
on a 1 to 10, what would you give it?
7.
It's a good movie, but
Seven.
not like.
Decent.
Because you already know the cheesy dialogue is coming no matter what.
Last question before we move on. Was there a rocket launcher pointed at one person in this movie?
No.
Sounds
Sorry,
all right,
sir.
All right, I'm going to wait for Redbox. That's all I wanted. I just remember that one scene from whichever Death Wish it was. It just turns
Blew
around
somebody out with a
and shoots a rocket launcher at one guy. That's all I wanted. Fucked it up, Eli.
They didn't
Good
take the
job.
one good scene.
All I wanted.
Well, we'll check that one out. Sam, you want to take the lead on some tech talk?
What?
Yeah.
What's tech?
I don't know. What kind of tech we
understand.
talking about, dude?
Technology.
What are we using?
Today's tech talk, nothing too crazy. Just talking about the advancement of how far we came, as in the world of us guys enjoying video games and TV and whatnot.
Us being old.
Sure.
Yeah,
you want
in
to
the
put that
30
way?
years of my life, we've gone through a bunch of different technologies.
On
already,
the
so-
way
sure
here,
have.
I realized I was like, man, yeah, we've seen DVDs, and I was like, oh wait,
Yeah.
that means there's
Laserdisc.
also VHS.
Laserdisc.
Fuck.
Mhm.
Well, the first one I had up was talking about the just the idea of TVs, because we grew up in that generation where we had those big ass square TVs.
CRTs.
Oh my god, where you got like moved around the house and your
Had
parents
to have
make
like
you
two
move it.
people and like
Exactly. Your parents didn't help you. They're like, no, you guys move it. You're like, oh,
And kidding me?
crap.
Depending on how old of a TV you had to be the remote for your parents.
See?
Like, no remote control, guys.
You
Just
guys
walking
remember
up and
TVs
clicking,
with
yeah.
dials on them and shit?
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what I'm
yeah.
talking about. I had to go and click it.
Do you remember those things called antennas?
Oh yeah, hold it this way. It's almost there.
Yeah, that's not
it's
it.
almost there.
To the left, to the left.
Oh,
Oh, no,
I
no,
don't
no.
know.
You lost it.
I don't know what you did. You got to do it again. Like-
I learned at a young age to just throw on some foil, and I got way better reception as a
Of
kid.
course.
I tried to take the lazy route, so I used foil, rubber band, and paper clip. Basically, like
MacGyver that shit.
Yeah, I MacGyver
Yeah.
that shit, so I don't have to get up again.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
All these kids and their lucky
We all-
downloads.
Yeah, we all
Streaming.
alpha tested your
The
TVs.
internet?
and the internet.
One of the notes I wrote down was nowadays, like majority of your flat screen TVs are at 4K. It has Wi-Fi capability, so you can start streaming right away.
Smart TVs.
Yeah, hop onto the Wi-Fi. And then the coolest thing about the TVs of this generation is the fact that, like, if I have the app to my TV and I can connect, then I can definitely stream at Pandora, Netflix, Hulu, whatever I watch online. I can just swipe it from my
It's a lot easier
Yeah.
to get content.
Chromecast nowadays.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you can like
Right?
like you were saying, like with YouTube, Netflix, Hulu, I can just like look what I'm find whatever movie I'm looking for on here.
like. I hope
Sync it
these
up with my
people
TV.
understand like how
The
far we
hardships.
came. Because, like, man, back in day,
Blockbuster.
Hey, dude.
that shit was not easy.
I mean, video cassettes weren't even the oldest thing, but do you guys remember with tracking on the VCR?
Oh,
and
yes.
shit? Fucking
I was a
stabilized?
tracking master, bro.
People are putting that in their movies now to try to get that
To
like
emulate the
feel.
movie.
Yeah, it's like,
Does it have that weird
jeez.
like dial-up tone at the very beginning? You know,
God.
sometimes you hear
Yeah.
that weird like kind of like telephone
Dude,
thing.
the only reason, honestly, the only reason I'm pretty good or like pretty well rounded with tech was due to my family, because I was the original cable guy, the antenna guy, did all the tracking, and I was stuck doing all the rewinding. I was like, damn it.
well, how I was that guy was because I had to figure out video games, and so like when I lived with my aunt and cousins, they all had all the systems, Nintendo,
Yeah.
Super Nintendo, Sega. How do you gotta hook them up? You gotta
Well, now
Gotta-
you don't have the red, yellow,
Yeah.
white.
Yeah,
Right?
you don't have the
Or
AV cords
the,
anymore.
You know the
thing that
AV
connect-
pack that
yeah.
goes in
Yeah.
the coax
the
cable,
coax
right? Or the-
cable. How annoying was it when you
Trying
get
to-
one of those coax cables that didn't spin right?
I know.
Yes.
Yeah,
Trying
they go
to
like
twist it, and the
forever.
whole thing would just twist, and you're just like,
There's
Yeah.
times where I propped the TV like against the wall and just like kind of force the cable in there to make sure it would get a grip on it. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
That was actually in my notes for the video games, too. I was going to talk about that. How, like, we came from the days of AV cords from channel 3, channel 4,
Yeah.
now
We
to
gotta like
just
search for it.
HDMI wire.
Yeah.
One HDMI and your life is
yeah,
set.
one input press, and you're ready to go.
Dude, I forgot what like normal TV was because I just recently bought antennas for my my TV because it's
Okay.
I don't have cable
Yeah,
or my
regular
regular
channels.
TV anymore. So
Yeah.
I put that on. I forgot there's like regular channels and like a TV guide and like regular news and shit. I'm like, oh my god, this is like so old fashioned. It's amazing.
Right? You guys remember back in the day, you guys switch over to the TV Guide
Oh my
channel
God. I
to
would-
figure out what you want
I
to
would
watch?
watch
Oh,
it for entirely way too long. There was movies that like we didn't have HBO, but you would see trailers for movies,
Yeah.
and I would be like, "Oh my god, I can't wait to see that movie,
Exactly.
Virtuosity. It looks so good."
I remember I saw the trailer for Johnny Mnemonic. I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
Yep.
that
Oh my
looks
God.
dope.
Well, dude, the thing with those TV guides too is like if you weren't paying attention because it would scroll down like a row of three. If you
Oh.
weren't fucking paying
Miss your
attention,
channel.
oh,
Oh, you're
the Johnny
fucked.
Mnemonic trailer
gotta
popped up.
wait.
I'm like, damn it, I missed Nickelodeon. I gotta wait for it to go through all 100 channels again.
I don't
It'd be
think a
like
lot,
20 minutes to see what's coming up next.
exactly. I don't think a lot of folks are gonna know like the struggles we went through. The only people who understand are the listeners that are of our
Yeah.
age.
Now you just pick what you want.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I know, right?
Now you're like, here, go to Netflix. Just stream it. Just stream it. Back then I was like, okay, what day is this? Wednesday? Nickelodeon? Okay, I have to be home by 7:30 to catch this TV show.
They won't ever know what it's like flipping through a physical TV guide that had the shows that were
Oh yeah.
planned out ahead, and then if
Yeah.
you missed it, you
Yeah.
missed it.
Yeah, there's no going back.
There was no recording. There was no DVR.
Yeah, my parents listen to this. I'm not going to talk about what I was doing.
Yeah, we've gone far in technology since the days of scrambled porn.
Oh my god, are you kidding me? The internet, when you first trying to get a single nude picture,
Telling you,
taking like
dial-up.
10 minutes for you're just watching, like, and of course it starts at the top, so you're like, yep, that's her face, kind of. It's going, yep.
Up, I see
And then,
shoulder.
and then someone can totally
By the
ruin your
time- I
day
mean-
by picking up the phone to
Oh,
make a
yeah,
phone
yeah,
call,
yeah.
and it's over.
I mean, like, by the time you get the full picture, you're not horny anymore. You're just like, it's like whatever.
Just save this for later.
I'm just going to go jerk off to robots now.
his Gundam collection.
Robo Jocks.
I remember that robot.
Yeah.
Jackson.
That was one of those
Yes.
movies I saw on TV Guide. I was like, oh my god, I gotta see this.
That was like a USA channel like, kind of show
Oh my
or movie.
God.
Oh wow, it's
That's
funny.
saying, dude, like we came so far, even in the world of like movie theater. You know, back in the day, you know, working in theater, we had to deal with 35 millimeter films, break them down, you know, put them together, and then the sound has to be correct, lined up with the machine.
Yep.
Or else it's totally
Now
messed
it's all
up.
digital. You just push a button, it's preloaded.
Yeah, exactly, dude. Before I left, they were at digital, and it's basically like making a
A playlist, right?
playlist.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Yep.
And then like the seats too. You know, it's like the seats are all
Oh.
upgrading to that recliner.
Dude, do you remember when stadium style seating was like first a thing?
Oh yeah, when it was
Like,
first
now
popular.
everything's like luxury. It's
Yeah.
like we're so spoiled. But like I remember when everything was leveled. Like,
Yep.
it wasn't stadium
When
style
Village
at all.
Square was all just one plane and it was like
Yes.
super close between each seat. and- yeah.
Barely have any leg room.
Yep.
Mhm.
The seats didn't even go back.
I fucking, I love the way theaters are now. I mean,
pretty
the
much
price
all
has
luxury.
gone up, but I mean,
You're comfortable though.
Oh,
dude.
yeah,
I mean, you have
you
leather
get what you
recliners,
pay,
drink
you have-
holders.
oh,
And
man, it's
also,
amazing.
since we're older now, they actually serve beer.
Yeah.
That's the coolest
Oh,
part.
yes.
It's so awesome.
Well, they have to offer you more for your buck now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're trying
that's
to get
true.
some
It's an
people to
experience.
serve.
It's not just a movie.
That's
It's an
right.
Experience.
That's right.
I was making notes talking about the advancement of GPS too, because back in the day, GPS was like this big
Tom
blocky
Tom.
thing you hooked up to your car, and then you hook up through the what's it called the outlet for the cigarette lighter, and now your GPS is on your phone. Like everything is on your phone. It's ready to go.
For sure.
You can change the voice, you can modify it. Like it's just a big progress for a lot of folks from back.
Shit,
in the
I remember
day.
before GPS, it was MapQuest.
MapQuest.
You had to like print out the directions,
Oh
right?
my god!
Don't forget MapQuest with dial-up.
Yeah.
Without
exactly.
an
That
actual
sexy
map.
dial-up.
And how did you connect to the internet? I connected through AOL.
Which you had to buy like hours
Yeah,
for.
you had to buy you. Oh my god!
150 free
No,
hours of AOL.
Go
on
ahead,
this
go ahead and
fucking
explain
CD.
to them because a lot of folks are probably amazed by what we lived through.
Yeah, like now you're just on the internet. You're just like Google. There you are. You're
It's just
connected,
there.
right? Like you
Oh,
had
hey,
to connect through.
Actually, give it a month when net neutrality ends. We
Oh.
might be right back to
Oh,
that.
God.
Tune in next month for part 2.
For anger.
If
This
you
is
can
just-
catch us next month, because we
Oh.
might not be hard, to find on the internet.
I don't know if
I don't
everybody
even know how
listened
that's
to
gonna
us,
work.
but hook a brother up, man.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Help us
yeah.
out.
But on the topic of phones, how old were you before you got your first cell phone?
Oh my
Dude,
gosh.
I was like 14, I think.
Fuck you guys. I was 19.
yeah, dude. I had to be.
Yeah, I was like,
I was like,
I think I was
14,
pretty old too,
15.
like
Yeah.
19-ish.
I'm
I
trying
actually
to
got
I was 14 or 15.
I got my first cell
I mean,
phone.
to be fair, I was with someone who had her own cell phone since she was like 16 or 17. But I mean, I didn't have my own until I was 19. And
Did
it
you
was
guys? Did you guys have a pager?
I had a pager
Oh
for
my
I had a
God.
pager
Did you?
for like 3
my,
months.
My older brother had a pager, dude. Back in the day, he had a pager.
That was back when your parents were
those
like,
PM
"This is your GPS pager."
that's
If I
the-
ever call you, you better call me back.
Well, that's the thing too. Back in the day, it was also a little more simpler time where like if you and your friends were gonna meet up, you're like, hey, meet me at the mall at 6, and we all met up at 6. Like no one got lost. Nowadays, everyone's like,
I
being
mean,
difficult.
simpler or like it was just like, oh, that guy didn't show up, and you're like, you can't call him, and he's like, I
guess he had something to do.
I went somewhere else and did something else, and it's like, oh, okay,
And we weren't pissed off because he didn't text us about it.
right. There was no texting back then. I was gonna talk about just also too like the leaps and bounds of voice command. Even a few years ago, you're talking about Siri, like how it wasn't fully functioning at that highest peak yet. It was still listening in, and you're like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, I'd be reading a book out loud, and it would start like,
Start googling stuff.
it would repeat. I couldn't find.
Oh.
He walked through the blah blah blah, and reading like a whole page of what I just said. I'm like, Siri, you read
Stop
out loud?
listening.
Not. I was reading to someone. But
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yes, I do. I have a really hard problem understanding books if I don't read them out loud.
Okay. Want to
Maybe,
clarify.
maybe he tapes audiobooks.
Yeah, I'm like,
You read your audiobooks?
yes.
Okay. Just want to clarify.
I was saying like how voice command has advanced like now in your home system itself.
You can have a whole house ran off of Google or Alexa or whatever.
Yeah, or
smart
Amazon.
homes.
Oh, dude, even like the Kinect is almost obsolete at this point with the Xbox. But when that first came out, dude, it was like the most mind-blowing thing ever. Like when it started doing voice commands, I remember they had a Pizza Hut app. This convinced me that the feature was here because I just tested it out. Like I'd used it multiple times. I'd ordered pizza through the app. I used it with entirely my voice. I was like, I'm gonna try this out. I'm gonna order pizza entirely with my voice. You know what? The Kinect brought me a fucking pizza, and that's when I was convinced that the feature was here. It was amazing.
You're like, I'm never leaving my house again.
I just
like-
gotta say that they also made a pair of shoes that had a button on it that would also order you pizza.
What?
So
That's
yeah,
awesome.
this
Wait,
just,
what?
Yeah,
I need
it was like a
those.
pair of sneakers that had a pizza.
Oh
button
yeah,
on it.
for Pizza
Yeah,
Hut.
you literally could just push the
Yeah.
button and it would order you
I
pizza.
totally missed that. That's a real thing.
I need those.
yeah.
games.
We'll put a
It's like
link. We'll put a link to that. Maybe.
the way it worked was you have the Pizza Hut app on your phone. It connects to your shoe.
Yep.
And then it already has like predisposed preferences that you like. You just hit it and it delivers to
That's
wherever you
weird.
are.
That's
Mine are
crazy.
shoes though.
Well,
That's
you
like
can-
such
you
a
can-
random
you
place
can-
to put it.
You can text
I have no
emoji.
idea.
You can text emojis
Yeah,
to
pizza emoji. Yeah.
Domino's, and they'll send you pizza.
What?
The
Yeah,
technology.
You text them
That's
a slice
crazy.
Of, like
That's
a slice of,
freaking
a little
crazy.
slice of pizza emoji, and they'll be like, "Be there in 20
Delivery,
minutes
yeah.
or whatever."
No, do they know what I want though? Like,
I mean,
I don't want them
It's
to
probably
choose
a
pizza.
preset thing.
That's what I'm
you
saying,
know?
dude. Could you imagine trying to explain this to your younger self that was like 10 years old? That'd be
Are you kidding
hilarious.
me?
They
If
would
I
believe
should,
you.
Like, just take one video game back and show me. I'd be mind fucking blown.
Last of Us.
Nice.
I hope I wouldn't take that to younger me. I think that's inappropriate.
I just started playing that one again. It's still awesome. So good.
Oh, so great. So
Get
great.
on it, Kanye.
What else you got,
As he's
Sam?
listening.
Anything on there?
Yes, the final most important one was the cell phones. Compared to the late 80s, early 90s, the big ass brick
The
cell
Zach
phone.
Morris brick cell
Oh,
phone.
man.
Yeah. My dad had one of those. I
Shit.
think I probably still have it.
Nice.
Really?
Yeah.
That
Because
was-
we jumped from those phones to like less bulky, and then we got to that
that was
final
the,
Nokia.
You got to
like
the
Snake.
the Matrix before we got to the one like the kind of still big, but like the little fake flip thingy.
Oh,
Yeah,
I had one
yeah,
of those.
yeah.
Wasn't that the Razor?
The that they eventually
kinda
The
one of
Razor was
the-
like
the one
after
that they click and it would slide
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, we had those, and then I remember like everyone had that Nokia for a little bit with the Snake game. So
Oh,
you
we
know,
all had Snake.
Everyone played Snake.
Everyone had Nokias. They were
Yeah.
self-defense products.
They were like- They were like bricks.
They were pretty bulky with your prepaid minutes.
Yeah.
Never
Oh,
break those
definitely.
things.
Call me after 9 o'clock. It's
Yeah,
cheaper.
exactly.
Oh my
Just
god!
call
Do you
me after
remember
9.
that when you first when cell phones first got? Yup. Yeah. What do you got? I got everything. Every second is costing me like dollars. You're like,
It's like, I have 5 minutes for the whole week. What do you want?
so stupid.
You just call collect and leave them like a 10-second message.
Remember that old commercial, Bobby the Baby, It's a Boy?
Oh yeah. Do you remember what was it like? All those AT&T things that if you wanted to call, you'd have to push like 10.
Oh, yeah.
Like
10, 10, 3, 2, 1 or something like
yeah,
that. Or
then you-
Dial up
then
the
you
middle
dial-
and shit, right?
Wasn't like Ed O'Neill on one of those from like
Oh
Married
my
with Children?
God.
He did
Yeah,
one of them for a while.
So dumb.
There was a bunch of those. That was like really a thing. There was like at
Oh,
least 3
definitely.
different ones that you could dial to do collect calls.
So
It's weird.
old.
It was
Yeah.
so ridiculous. And then now we're to the point where our freaking smartphone is basically a computer.
Are you
Everything.
kidding? We're
Ready
in
to go.
we're in a time where we're talking about cell phones right now, and later on if I go to Facebook, they're gonna have cell phones on there or something
yeah.
that we talked
The-
about here, and it's like
It's
I
always
never
listening.
Google searched that.
Right.
What the fuck?
Who's listening to us?
Exactly.
Hmm.
right?
Big brother.
Interesting.
Yeah, dude,
Your
like you-
phone is literally listening to
Yeah.
us. That's what the problem is.
Like just looking at the front screen of my technology right now, like, dude, like my alarm's here, I got a calendar, your camera, like full on HD camera and video recording.
And
like,
then even we're to the point now where there's food apps.
I just like that.
I can call Grubhub, or I
Uh-huh.
can like
Domino's, Papa John's,
Sure.
Pizza Hut, Panera, all right here.
Yeah.
And Sonic and Postmates.
I like that you
Nice.
said if I look at the front screen of my technology
Uh,
here.
my cellular telephone.
it's true. It's freaking crazy technology. But the saddest part though is so many smartphones, but not enough smart people using it.
Well, the problem is that smartphones are making us dumb.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it
Yes,
really
they
hurts. It really hurts.
It's
bro.
a weird conundrum that's working against us, this technology. So that's it for tech. A lot of old stuff that's becoming newish now, but we'll see. We're still waiting on my holodeck.
I still want a hoverboard.
Yeah.
Oh, bastard! I was
Like,
about to say
a
that.
real hoverboard. I want that pink Mattel hoverboard, not these weird, jet powered things.
Yeah,
Like,
weird. I agree.
Oh, don't they catch fire?
yeah, those.
Well, let's talk video games. Some more technology.
Woo.
We're talking DLCs today, downloadable content. In my opinion, all downloadable content nowadays is garbage. Once it went past expansions and actual additions to games that were after they came out, became stripping the game of certain key things and then selling it afterward, it all went downhill from there. Geez.
Well, some folks do it right, and some folks do it wrong.
That's right. I think like selling horse armor, right? That was like one of the few
Yeah.
first things that came out on Xbox. I can't remember. It was Elder Scrolls.
Was
Was
it
yeah.
Morrowind?
No,
It was Oblivion.
Okay.
And so it's like a joke, right? I mean, it wasn't a joke then, but I mean, it's like a joke now as when people talk about DLC. I think that content, as long as it's not held off, right? Because the problem is games right now are actually cheaper than they've ever been before. If you count inflation, when Super Nintendo, you'd get some games for $40, $49, but other games would cost $69, $80 because they could charge whatever they wanted for the cartridge. And so now they're trying to get that extra money by parsing out content or whatever, however they can, right? The newest fashion is loot boxes, cash boxes, whatever, right?
You had the little crates for
Yeah, so-
in game.
Yeah. So like some people do it right, like Overwatch, right? Blizzard, they've done this. They actually changed their MOBA to kind of be the same way as Overwatch, where every time you level up, they
You
give
get a
you a
random-
free box, right? Comes with free loot and get anything that's in the game basically in that crate.
Sure, but it's like a slot machine that has odds, right?
and you can buy more if you want. But the thing with Overwatch and them, they give it to you as part of your
Your normal progression.
right. And like in Overwatch, all of the characters are free. Every
Yep.
time they add a new character, you just get it because it's a MOBA type shooter where balance is very important. So everyone has to have all the characters, right?
Makes sense.
So everything that you earn is cosmetic. Voice lines, sprays that you spray on the wall. and
Some sharing
skins.
coins too.
What's that?
Sometimes you earn the coins.
Yeah, you get coins, but but I mean, it's just to unlock. It's like a in-game currency to unlock whatever skin you want if you save up enough of them, right?
Cosmetics.
Yeah, exactly. If you do it right like that, where it's like you can earn it, and like there's tons of people who don't want to wait, and that's great. Go spend $50 on 50 of these loot boxes and get nothing. That's up to you, because you're an adult. Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Don't be
Well, my thing with like DLC though is a lot of the stuff is actually built into the game and it's locked, and you're actually not able to unlock it until you pay a certain fee, and then you get your code, and then all of a sudden you get other unlocked things, which is bullshit, nickel and diming you. And then also, so there's some games that are just completely not finished without the DLC. Like you're required to pay another $20-$40, whatever it may be, to get the full story.
For like the complete story. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like the Taken King, stuff
Destiny
like that.
2.
Well, see, that's a totally different example as far as the game goes. I don't want to compare it to an MMO. I'm not a full-on MMO experienced player, but it has been called that in the past. But it's one of those games, at least the first one, where it improved a year later with all the expansions that came out afterwards, because it's the game that it should have been in the first place.
Well, see, that's my problem, though, is they are improved on the game because they rush it out, then nothing works, then they have to rebalance it. So then they put out the expansion to fix everything in the original game. Then they strip the original game of the fun stuff that you actually liked, unless you buy the expansion pack.
But yeah, that's true. That it does happen like that, and that's a problem with a lot of just modern gaming. Right, games come out either incomplete or
Not
buggy
finished,
because they try to get it out 6 months before the other big blockbuster. Like, right, no one wants to be out. No one wants to be out on the same day as Call of Duty. So sometimes they rush it in that time zone, right? But like some games, I think can be improved.
Well, let's talk about one of your favorites, Eddie, Street Fighter V. That came out very bare bones.
They were trying to do, well, this is what they said. They're trying to do a different thing instead of arcade mode, right? So they got rid of the thing that's been part of Street Fighter from the very beginning. But now they're like, well, here's just a story mode where you get all the cinematics and you fight these easy fights, and then you move on in the story and you see more, blah, blah, blah. But then people were like, well, that sucks. We want to be able to, and then they're like, well, we gave you survival mode. And it's like, you play survival, and it's just like this long chain of, and
Just
like
never-ending battle.
Yeah, and it's like, and you also get to unlock colors, and they're like, to get all the colors, you have to beat every difficulty. So like on easy, it's like 15 fights. On normal, it's like 30 fights. On hard, it's 70 fights. And then on the extreme difficulty, it was 100 fights. 100 fights where you're fighting harder and harder enemies, and it's based on, you're using this little point system to like gain life, blah blah. Anyway, it was trash.
It was basically impossible.
The only
to get
part
all
that
of
was good was playing online, fighting other people, and then it's a constant like update thing where they're balancing characters, blah blah blah.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a lot of trial and error because I sat in a couple of your online gaming sessions. And just watching people give up halfway through a battle against you or disconnecting, that's total garbage.
So there's like issues where people would start to lose and they would disconnect because they didn't have a penalty system. And you're like, well, this sucks. So you don't gain points, they don't lose points. So you can run into them again because you're both the same rank. And it's just like, it took them so long, like 6 months before they got that fixed. There was just a lot of issues. But now, 2 years later, they have the arcade edition, which was completely free if you already owned the game. This is like season 3 of the actual like online version. And so these things, they're slowly improved over time. So sometimes as a gamer, it feels better just to wait. But then if you wait like for everything,
you can't
then
progress.
These games they're not gonna have that progress where they get the patch because no one bought the game, and so the developers aren't gonna care. A game that did it right, I think, some people won't like it still, is Rainbow Six Siege. Like, it came out, it got middling like reviews, and it was okay as a game. But then Ubisoft was like, look, they hired 80 people just to take feedback from the community and just try to improve
and fix it
and fix what was going on in the game. And slowly, like my cousins and friends are playing it, and they're like, you should download it again. And I started playing it again, and I'm hooked on the fucking game again.
So the mechanics are better.
Yeah, everything, and
definitely
they changed their. It's different because it's a game that you bought, but like they have like a free to play system almost where you can unlock the additional characters that are released as content through just playing.
Let me ask you a question. For the upgrades, did you have to pay for it, or was it an update, free update?
It was a free update.
Okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
So you were able to earn it through your accolades.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's an important part for me as a gamer, is to be able to earn it through the accolade itself.
And they have a whole loot system too, where you get like weapon skins and stuff like that. And
Okay,
so yeah,
nice. Because I was gonna focus on some of the good parts of DLC, which was some of the publishers. One of them I wrote down was Epic Games for the Gears of War series, because the current iteration of Gears of War 4, even though the game was released a while ago, almost every month they're updating, they're trying to fix it. They keep you in the loop through their social media, letting you know, hey, it's a year to dog, come play the game, earn these skins. I like Epic Games because they actually reward you for your hard work, going through playing multiplayer or replaying your story. And yeah, you can buy the weapon packages, open up and earn certain things. But the cool thing is, if you do get duplicates, you can actually break them down and create new stuff.
I was actually gonna say that's one of my complaints for like Overwatch, because they have the free loot boxes and stuff, but during the
it's the
holiday
same
they
stuff.
have holiday stuff, right? And it's like 3,000 of the in-game currency for one of the new skins that's only around for this 3 weeks, and so they're
Yeah,
trying
and
to
if
get
you don't
you.
play enough, you got to buy it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Even if you do play enough, you
It's
have
a
to be
cash
super lucky to unlock all of the skins
Oh, absolutely.
by the time the event is done.
Yeah.
And so that's the only thing that's a negative about the loot boxes.
I think they're all negative.
So, I mean, another
Randomly
good one,
generated
like you were
gear.
saying, was
It's just skins though.
not my favorite in the series, but a Halo 5 actually had some pretty good continuous support even long after the game was released, as far as
Okay.
its multiplayer support, with more maps, new features, just a lot of things being dropped constantly.
Well,
So,
yeah, but you had to pay for map packs.
no, actually, all the DLC on this one was free.
On
at
Halo
least,
4? Well,
not Halo 5. Halo
Halo
5.
5.
Well,
Latest one.
originally Halo was like the kind of originator of map packs, along with Call of Duty, Xbox, and their paid subscriptions to get onto Xbox Gold and play multiplayer games. They
Mhm.
started all this shit.
They were one of the earlier ones, yeah.
And then it filters into PlayStation. Now we get a charge for our online service.
To-
And-
To be fair, I'm a PlayStation fan, but Xbox from the beginning has been way better with the online structure.
their matchmaking is much better.
Their online structure has always been better than Sony's, and that's why they used I understood why they charged, and then Sony started. I'm like, and they still aren't up to.
par.
I feel like
par with
Sony
that.
still has like regular blackouts where like, oh yeah, the servers are down for the next 24 hours.
Oh no! Yeah, I'll guarantee you that, because I was there for that for
Oh,
Star Wars Battlefield 2. They had issues with their launch big time. Like, I feel like since I have both systems, when I play online on the Xbox, I feel like there's more dedicated servers for the online matchmaking and all that.
but not just dedicated servers, but the PlayStation Network as a whole, I think, was hacked and was down for like a full week or something like that.
No,
it was
Rich-
down
no,
for a month.
Was
It
dude.
was down for a
Yeah,
That's
month,
happened.
and it was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
That
it's
was the
just-
week that I purchased the
I
new
mean-
Mortal Kombat game.
Oh, me
And
too.
I was like, oh,
So mad.
great. I can't do shit with
That
this.
wanna
was-
download the
what
Sub-Zero
was that
skin.
shoot?
Yeah, another one on my crap list for DLCs is Mortal Kombat, because you got to pay for characters.
Yeah.
However, I will say I am gladly to pay for the season pass for Injustice 2 because Ninja Turtles.
I have it. Awesome. Love it. But
I'm gonna say
I'm
Street
not helping
Fighter.
the cause.
That's the cool thing about Street Fighter is in the latest Street Fighter you can unlock characters just by playing the game.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I
how many
definitely-
hours you got to put into it though? You
Well,
know,
that's
to
the thing.
unlock
It's
some of
like
those
it's
new
like
characters.
it's
But
like
better to
if
be
you're a
rewarded.
casual player, that's
Yeah.
who pays for the stuff, right?
I'd
But
rather
if
earn
you're
my
me
thing.
and I play, I'm just playing my one character, M Bison. Like that's all I play. So when I'm playing, after playing for 100 hours, I'm like, oh look, I can unlock a character. I'm like, oh cool, I'm gonna unlock this
This random
person,
guy that I'll never use.
and I'm like, I'll do the trial mode, and I'll be like, that was fun. Back to M Bison.
Yeah. Honestly, real quick, I do have to give Mortal Kombat some shit too. As much as I love the series, it's still one of my favorites of all time. Yeah, the last two Mortal Kombat's, Mortal Kombat 10, X, whatever you want to call it, and then 9, the one before. I love them both.
Milking the shit out of you.
But my God, you could purchase easy fatalities. You
Oh,
could
yeah.
like seriously
That-
like
yeah,
one
that-
button fatalities, like that's a thing. And then yes, all the skins and like I ended up spending at least maybe $100 on Mortal Kombat 9 in the end. When it comes to like because I'm a sucker for nostalgia and like I bought all the skins
This
and I
comes
bought
back
all
to
the
what I was saying.
characters.
Like, how many hours would you have to put into Mortal Kombat 10 to unlock everything?
Well, see, that's the thing.
You
You
don't-
can't unlock some
you
of these.
can't.
You
for,
have
almost
for
to
that
buy
one,
it.
you can't.
and you have to pre-order to get certain characters like Goro and Darkseid with Injustice 2. Like I had to pay $5 from now because I didn't pre-order
Yeah,
the
you
game.
didn't.
So
Yeah.
So yeah, and who cares? I probably will never play
it's
that
always-
character, but it's just like it's an itch. Like I see this character that's blocked and I want it.
Oh,
And
100%,
that's just me.
100%. And it's like they'll be like, if you pre-order from Best Buy, you get this.
get this
and
thing,
you
yeah.
get, if you pre-order from GameStop, you get this. And
thing,
Target.
yeah.
Like lately, it hasn't been as bad.
Right.
Right.
But I mean,
There was
for
definitely
a
a
couple
time,
years, it was like, I'm like, well, I want all of it.
Mortal
but,
Kombat
like,
was one of those. Yeah, and I think
I am guilty because one of the Batman games with Rocksteady, Best Buy offered this bonus level and GameStop offered this bonus level. So I purchased both and I sold an extra copy to Adam for like half the price.
Yep.
So I'm like,
Yeah,
oh, here, just give me 25 and
You're-
we'll call it a day.
You're what they call a whale.
Yeah, he's just gonna buy
The
them
person
all.
that's just gonna buy. Like
I was a sucker,
for
dude.
free to
'cause
play
I love,
games.
I love Batman's Rocksteady.
That's how these free to play games go on, though. They have whales, right? So like me, you, and
Like
you,
Pokemon
and
Go,
all
my
of
friend
us.
spent easily
exactly.
like $1,000.
None of
Wait,
us-
oh my
what?
god.
Yeah.
Hold
None
on,
of
hold on,
us-
hold on, hold
Yeah,
on.
dude.
I'm trying to hear the story.
Pokemon Go, $1,000 easy you spent on this, dude. Yeah, seriously.
Whales
that's how
are
they do
the
it, man.
10% that keep these games floating.
Sure.
They're the people who there's a Chinese guy who plays this free to play game I play on my phone called Summoner's War, and he spends
Like
like
thousands.
like $100,000 on this fucking
Like,
game.
he's the
because
best though.
It's a game
Right,
about
you're paying
where
for it.
collecting monsters, right?
Yes,
And he has
obviously.
all of them because he
He
pays for all
them,
of them.
Pay to win.
I was gonna shit on EA some more, but already shit it so much. I'm sure they already hate me.
My last thoughts is this: old expansions were good, new DLCs terrible.
Cool.
When it seems like they've cut a game, like cut a portion out of the game and saved it for DLC, that's what I don't like.
I'm sure there's plenty of other examples.
Yeah,
I just can't
tons
think
of
of any right
examples,
now off
tons
the top of my head. Anything else on DLC?
Bloodborne, it's free this month, and it has great DLC.
Got the plug Bloodborne. It's a great
Got it.
game.
It's the greatest
Go
game
play it.
ever.
It's a free
Play it.
one. I'm
It's
gonna download
free.
it.
It's free.
So
For
you-
PS
you
Plus.
like being
it's part of your
abused.
PS Plus subscription, so
Mhm.
technically it's not free,
Well,
but you're already
It's
paying
totally
for
worth
it.
it. Just
Yeah, just
get a free month
Play
trial and just download this game and
play it.
experience
Okay,
it.
play it. Die a bunch of times. Give it 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours,
Wow.
and then
Try again.
No,
you'll
it shouldn't
die
take
some
that
more.
long.
It-
But
It took me like a good hour or 2 hours maybe before I finally got to the first boss and beat him.
Yeah.
And my God, I hated myself so hard for that first couple of hours because it was literally just, I can't fucking stop dying. And it's in the same area every time. But
Just-
then when that actually got to the boss, it's just like the most satisfying
yeah.
feeling when you win.
I'll
It's
die
a
a
great
lot.
game.
You guys will probably laugh at me.
We're going to play this together. No, we
We're all- yeah.
You're the support group.
well, no, Eddie and I will be your champions. So when you need us, you call upon us and we will give you a break.
help me out. Here.
Nice. I like that. I like the support here, guys.
Yes.
Very sweet of you.
Love this game.
Love it.
Turned it on again recently. Still love it.
Yep.
Anyways,
Anyways, yeah, let's talk Infinity War.
Infinity War.
Ooh, what happened this week?
look at that
Something
smooth
big
segue.
happened.
Yeah, I know, right?
We're so smooth like sandpaper.
Infinity War.
So they moved it up a week.
Yes.
They had this kind of little Twitter battle between Robert Downey Jr. and Marvel.
It's hilarious,
It
actually.
Very-
was
very
kinda
witty.
funny. It was kinda
Very
funny.
witty.
It was an interesting way to try and spin the media.
Yeah.
But they moved it up a week. It's going to be April 27th now instead of in May. So it's going to have a worldwide release date now.
I think that's
Um,
really smart.
It is pretty smart.
Mm.
I don't know why they would naturally do that
Already?
in the beginning.
Yeah.
Release it in Europe and then wait to release it in the United States. Obviously, there's going to be some talk, about the
Yeah, there's dickheads out there
spoilers.
that are going
Yeah,
to do it on
some
purpose.
Well, yeah, and I
Yeah,
think they're going
you
for the
can get
global
reviews
wide
and-
gross also. Like, why not? If you can just release it worldwide at the same time,
Yeah, they're
why not
looking to
make all
break
that
a
money?
record. They're
Oh,
looking
absolutely.
to-
They will. It's making all the money.
Yeah.
But
They'll make a lot of money because there's no mustache issues.
doesn't this have $1 billion budget? Like the film itself?
Does it?
I
It wouldn't
believe
surprise
so.
me.
It's
gonna look
the
it up.
thing is over Chris, for the whole thing itself, they actually I think there's about 2 or 3 units of directors set up between the brothers because they have the main brothers that are directing, and then they broke into another unit so that they can shoot all the movies at once, basically.
I mean,
So,
well,
it's pretty intense.
think about how many locations that they're in.
Oh,
they
definitely,
can't be
dude.
everywhere at the same time. I mean, you have
Definitely.
Wakanda, space locations in New York.
That's one of the biggest
Um,
casts ever, I'm sure.
Oh my God! Like I'm
Yeah.
just looking at everybody on here. Like it's
Oh
amazing to
shit!
think they're
Could
all
you
gonna be in the
imagine
same movie.
the credits at the end of Infinity Wars?
It's gonna be
That's
long
like-
ass credits.
Oh
right?
my
That's
God.
that's like a
I didn't even
15
think
minute
about that.
credits, bro.
They'll have enough time for 6 end credit scenes.
Oh,
Guarantee you one of them will be maybe a trailer or a teaser for the next Avengers because it's coming out a year
Oh.
later. And I know originally this is supposed to be a 2-parter, and they've said that they're on standalones now, but they say that this is still going to be 2 stories.
Like the
that-
introduction.
yeah,
to
so this
them
can be like a
fighting.
chapter
Also,
2.
they're not gonna release titles yet
Mhm.
until they actually release all these other movies because they said the titles can be spoilers.
That's what I was getting
So-
at with Infinity War. I think they're going to at least release the title for the next movie because it could be a Secret Wars, it could be anything, and I think that's the title is going to be a spoiler. That's why
So
I
they
feel
want
like
to keep us on edge.
It's going to be it's going to be the end credits thing where we're going to know what that title is, and that's going to give us all we need to know as fans, as us on the table. We're going to know exactly what that means.
And
It's
then
one of the few like comic book things I've gone back and read.
Right.
Oh, Thanos.
and this whole set, like I looked it up, trying to find it like in the interwebs and stuff. There's no titles at all, just because they have to wait for these next set of movies to be released before they can actually release the titles.
You trying to sleuth out the
Well, I mean-
titles there, Mister?
I gotta be honest, they change the titles like left and right anyway. So
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, they go from 2-parters to 1-parters to multi.
You know, to
So
whatever.
we never know.
Okay.
You know, we never know. Maybe Wolverine can show up in one of these.
It's not too late. Real quick though, I did find the budget. Supposedly it's $1 billion as a whole, but this seems to be accounting for both movies.
Oh,
So basically
okay, that's not
500
bad.
million a piece, which is still
But that,
higher than any other film of all
but
time.
is that like
It's
with it
ridiculous.
advertisements?
Oh, probably.
well,
And
I mean, that's
I mean,
always a
that's
part
like-
of it.
How
Marketing,
much-
the
how much of
actors
that-
But I
themselves,
mean,
How much of that belongs to Robert Downey Jr.?
50%.
I mean, really though,
He has his own form of currency.
him and Captain America.
Honestly, I mean, I love Chris Evans and Cappy. I mean, he's great, but Robert Downey Jr. is like, he has
Are you
like,
talking about Human Torch?
no, God, no. Fuck that movie. But honestly, both of them. But on that note, whoever plays Human Torch in the features has a great future ahead of him in the MCU afterwards because both Human
Exactly.
Torches have had great roles afterwards. You know, Chris Evans as Captain America, and
You
then
have to
Michael B.
struggle
Jordan
through
as
that role
Killmonger.
first.
Right? It's your earning spot.
But anyways, yeah. So that's an insane budget, and it's gonna make it all back within a week.
Probably.
Absolutely. First, actually, when I first heard this, I thought it was kind of funny. I was like, wow, every other studio's like delaying their movies. They're actually moving it up a week. I'm like,
Yeah.
how full of yourself.
Yeah, why would you do that, right? Well,
But
think a little bit more
you
into
also
it.
have Solo coming out, and I kind of feel that maybe the studio doesn't have a lot of faith in the film, and they want to give it a chance, basically, because it's sandwiched in between Infinity War and Deadpool 2.
Deadpool 2.
They're gonna make so much money.
Well, Deadpool 2 is still Sony, is it not?
Deadpool
it's still
2?
Fox.
It's Fox.
It's still
Sorry,
Fox.
Yeah,
Yes,
Fox.
it's still
so
Fox.
it's not Disney, is what I'm saying. So they're
Not
competing
quite.
still.
But Solo's competing with
Solo's
Infinity War,
competing
which
with-
is Disney. So
well,
it's the same
see,
property.
that's why they move it back, in my opinion.
Right.
They move that back to April. So now they have April locked up. Now they have Solo by itself in May. So maybe they have a shot at, that they get that extra week.
Yeah.
They're not
Mhm.
competing with Infinity War anymore. They're just competing with Deadpool.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll open up, Solo for a bigger,
Possibility.
a bigger
just to
run.
give it a chance to actually, earn something, because it was supposed to be scheduled 2 weeks after Infinity War originally. Doesn't have a chance.
And then my other thing is, you move it back to April, and April's biggest release is Rampage with The Rock. So
I
now,
wanna see it.
Super Troopers 2.
but think about it. Now that's got to compete with, Avengers, and it's going to have a whole month of basically nothing to compete against.
Right.
So it's just going to kill this April box office.
Oh, dude, this is
Oh,
gonna kill all box office
Yeah.
of all time. This is making
This
all
is
the
going to
money.
be
It's going to be
the
nuts.
number one movie over
I'm
Star Wars
stupidly
last year.
excited about this. Like, I'm so excited, and especially with Black Panther being released. Like now, even more people are amped up about it. Like that scene
the
of them
hype,
running
the
in
Marvel
the end.
hype right now
Yeah.
is like all time high.
Dude,
Yep.
that scene just
You
means
can't
so
do
much
anything
more
wrong
now.
right now. So
They
hopefully,
can't. They literally moved their movie up a week. That's not like. I don't mean to bash on DC, but I'm
That-
saying
that's
with
how much
a
balls
company
they
that
got.
is
They're like,
constantly
here.
delaying and having problems with their projects. Like, fuck you want it earlier? Here you go. Like they're actually able to do that.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
pretty insane.
Well, it goes to show you how much planning they've had into this.
Oh,
Yeah,
definitely.
They-
I can't wait
They
for
took
this.
their
20 years
time.
in the making right now.
Took their
It's
time,
insane.
Right?
built
It's
it up.
so
and
exciting.
it's like
I've been watching.
like if you're fans of this movie, maybe you're not fans of that movie,
Yeah.
but they're all coming together. So there's
Right.
something for everyone.
Mhm.
It's
I've been watching like all the old Marvel movies just here and there. Looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing everybody come together.
Yes. It's
can't
gonna be
wait to see
amazing.
Thanos kill them all.
That's right.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like for the sequel release of Ant-Man and Wasp, like does it take place after Infinity War or before?
I think I heard
Like,
it
how's
takes
that gonna
place
work?
like not too long after Civil War because he's still locked up, obviously. And
Okay.
so I'm assuming they're gonna maybe break him out and they go on their own adventure and eventually they'll meet up for Infinity War. So
Okay.
I kind of see this as almost like a prequel, sort of,
Interesting.
maybe.
Interesting.
I mean, look at the vibe of it though.
Well,
like
we haven't seen the Wasp in Infinity War trailers, right?
we haven't seen him, her, or Ant-Man. Either one
I
of
thought
them.
Ant-Man was.
Yeah, I think Ant-Man
Was he?
is.
I don't know if I remember seeing him in the trailer, but I know he was in shots for the Avengers 4 that we saw him on set. So we just haven't seen what their roles are going to be. We have to wait, which I'm glad there's still some mystery to it. I'm starting to piece too many
Yes,
things
waiting,
together.
waiting with bated breath.
Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely. It'll be good. It'll be good.
Very
it's going to be great.
But remember, before these movies came out, we always had to read the comics or the books.
Gasp. You mean there was like
Printed word?
no pictures?
What?
Yeah, learn us on these heavy things and why we should
Yes.
read these and be more good at stuff.
We're gonna jump off the digital train. We're gonna go old school. You know, some of us actually still like to read, whether it be comics or actual novels. with just-
Like we
just
discussed
words.
earlier, we enjoyed the fresh book smell.
Fresh book smell. Nothing beats it.
So nice.
Still love going to Barnes and Noble.
So how do you use them?
I think they're portable. First off, they're definitely portable.
You go like this, and then you just
You have to
Flip
like
through the pages.
You open it left to right.
Johnny 5.
Sound like you pet a cat just now.
But yeah, let's talk about books and some books that you should read and maybe be interested in. I'm huge into sci-fi and fantasy, so
Yes.
that's basically mostly what I read, and it kind of is
Ooh.
nerdy in that way, right?
What are you reading right now?
Absolutely.
Right now, actually, I need to start reading again because a book I read probably at the end of last year kind of really it hurt my soul, and I haven't
So you-
wanted to read
He's
like every time
I
I
can't do it anymore.
yeah, it's like every time I read, I think about the ending of that book, and I'm just like, ugh.
What was that book?
Yeah.
I don't want to say because like just saying that it depressed me, kind of like
Well, you gotta let
it's
us
a
know, bro.
spoiler.
It's a spoiler.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, why it would depress me so much would kind of be a spoiler.
Do you want to write it down and pass it across the table to me?
No, no.
Do you not want to see
Someone
it?
dies in it,
just
and I
text
didn't.
and tell us
I
the
didn't
book.
like it.
Is it John dies at the end?
Yeah, sorry guys. Actually, I gave up reading Game of Thrones a long time ago. You guys complaining about 2 years for the next season. I had to wait like 6 years for between books.
He was a teenager when those books first came out.
Yeah,
And he's not done yet.
yeah, and then and they're still not done.
Yeah, the other one's getting pushed back even further.
Yeah, because he doesn't care.
Like, you were a child.
He's getting
now you have your own.
residuals now, so
He already has an HBO money. He's good.
that's right.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, like, what was like one of your first books that you might have read outside of like being someone telling you to read it, or
Like
you know,
high school.
high school
Yeah.
telling you read
Of Mice and
Stranger.
Men, or-
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, of Mice and Men.
For me, my first few books I read on my own was The Outsiders and 1984. What about you?
One of my first books I read is a science fiction novel called Armor, and if you've ever seen the movie Starship Troopers, I used to think that
Of
movie
course.
was
Based on that.
based
book.
on that book, but they didn't have the computer graphics to do the armor suit and everything like that. But it is actually, there is an old science fiction novel that's like a really thin short novel that's called Starship Troopers that's based on. But
Absolutely.
but that was the whole thing. Is Armor was like the first book. My dad was like, "Here, read this," and I was like, "I don't read." Because
Like at that point, you hate reading, right?
Like,
As
I was
kids
like
hate
11
reading.
or 12. I was like, I don't want to read. It's like
Yeah.
500 pages. What is this?
Like, you want me to do a book report after this? Fuck you.
There's no pictures.
But that's like one of the few books I've read like multiple times. I just love. There's a guy who just he like basically like has like almost like an alternate personality while he's fighting these aliens. Right, he's shoved off into this war, and he becomes the engine, and like this other personality takes over for him and remembers all the things that he was trained, and then it like his personality is basically just like in the background like cowering. I was like, what the fuck, you know? But like yeah, I love that. That was like one of the first books I read, and I still always recommend it, even though it's like his only book. I think the guy's written like 2 books, John Stakely.
But that one's a good one.
Yeah, I love that book. But what about you, Adam?
For me, like when I was a kid, I hated reading. It was all like, you know, in English, you had to read all the Shakespeare and, like I said, of
Yeah.
Mice and Men, stupid
Yeah.
stuff like that. I never
Yeah.
could really grasp it. For me, the first book that I really enjoyed was Hobbit, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, of course.
But they were hard reads.
Yeah.
So for me as a kid, it was more comic books. Then as I became older and kind of got more into reading, became a dealer, I had a lot of off time, read on break or whatever. My favorite author, and the one I still continuously actually buy hardcover books for, is R.A. Salvatore. He
Nice.
writes Forgotten Realms, basically a
Risk.
D&D type,
Yeah.
world. Yeah, it's about basically about a drow elf, which is the evil elves, and one of them goes against his natural, inclination to do evil, and he becomes a good guy. And it's all about his story, and he's been writing these books forever. It's just so
20-something
amazing.
of them.
He describes fight scenes in such a different way than any other book that I've read. It just draws you in. And then the main character.
So it like unleashes your imagination.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
it's like reading a D&D story. You know, if you had like the game master story, that's
Yeah.
kind of what it is.
Okay.
and the main character Drist, he's just so dynamic, and every like main act in the book gives you a little like kind of internal monologue or a little bit of journal he's writing, just grabs you, that character.
When I started reading that series, the movie The One came out, and you know how like Jet Li and everything, he's moving so fast that everyone seems like they're moving slow. So when I started reading the second book, I had that in my head while I was reading the fight scenes and stuff. So it enhanced my my enjoyment of that series. But yeah, I love that. I love that author. I love that series. He also has a few different
couple other series, The Highwaymen, The Cleric Quintet.
I love that series.
Yeah, really good.
What's that one about?
That one's it takes place in the same world, but a different character. He starts off like as one thing and eventually becomes this cleric of order. And you
some
go
godly
through his
temple
journey.
that he builds, and he's got these basically magic powers from these gods that gives him priestly abilities. Very much D&D.
Yeah, very very D&D. I mean, Forgotten Realms, Dragonlance. And that's bringing up the Forgotten Realms. Dragonlance is like one of the first one of those that I started reading. The original trilogy, the Dragons of Autumn Twilight, and
my brother's read all those.
Oh my God.
That's kind of how I started with the Dark Elf trilogy. Was my brother kind of had all those Dragonlance novels, and I picked one up one day, and it was just so compelling that I've read them ever since.
So you can put it down.
Yeah.
Nice.
I some of my favorite books are the Dragonlance series. That original trilogy goes into another trilogy about two of the characters that are from there, the Megere brothers, and it is like one of the most epic journeys. But yeah, like the whole thing started off with them playing Dungeons and Dragons, and like one of the favorite characters, Rasslin, the guy like just decided as a character choice that he was going to use like a raspy voice and like be this sickly character, and it's like it becomes like this huge thing in the whole story where like the twin brother is the rock. He's the guy that's always taking care of the little brother. That's why the little brother who's sickly turns to trying to be a wizard, and
he's got no physical power.
Yeah, he has no. He's sickly all the time.
Yeah.
And the magic is the only thing that keeps him support.
Got you.
What was this story called again?
That it's part of the Dragonlance.
Dragonlance novels,
The first book is called Dragons of Autumn Twilight.
What about you, Chris? Any favorite books?
Oh, dude. Well, when I was a kid, I actually read a lot and a lot of Goosebumps. That was kind of my thing. When I was a
you read a lot of
kid.
Yeah, those are good ones, dude.
So many of those. Like I don't know, there's like maybe 60 of them, but I'm pretty sure I read them all when I was a kid.
I'm with you on that one.
I read so many of those. There's another series called Animorphs. They're more of like a sci-fi kind of kids thing. Kids would turn into animals. Pretty dumb. But I enjoyed
it's
reading
a good kids book, right?
Yeah, they're great kids books. So I read a lot of those when I was younger. Didn't really read a lot like during high school, like when I was a teenager, I guess. But as I've gotten older, I've started reading a lot more again. And Dan Brown has kind of become one of my favorite writers. He's probably not the best writer, I would say. His books are just damn entertaining. He's best known for the Da Vinci Code. Most recently, he just came out with the Origin, which I actually have. I have yet to jump into it.
Is it the same character?
Robert Langdon. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is funny because the first two books that he had, Digital Fortress and Deception Point, were two totally different characters. And ever since Da Vinci Code, it's been Robert Langdon.
Right. He's like his new favorite character. Might as well continue his
story,
right?
He's basically like a nerdy James Bond sort of character where he's just caught and he's like worldwide, kind of like, just episodes. There's like villains. He's chased. He has, doesn't know why. And there's always a hot chick that he's dealing with. And it's
like National Treasure. He's got to figure out.
Exactly.
Weird stuff.
They're great. And the books are just, this is such a common saying, but the books are so much better than the movies. Those movies are crap. I was just so mad. And Tom Hanks is great. He sort of just shows up. And you could definitely tell he's not completely invested sometimes, but they're whatever. If you have no knowledge of the books, then fine.
They were entertaining enough,
but the books are great. So
books are always
read
better.
those. Of course, the biggest series is it's not Game of Thrones. It's A Song of Ice and Fire. That's the name of the series. I haven't read them all yet. They are epic books. I've only read the first three, which are heavy books. So I think the last one was A Storm of Swords that I read, and that was about almost 1,100 pages, I think.
Yeah, they're pretty thick.
And I'm currently on A Feast for Crows for the past 2 years.
Oh yeah,
I've finished that book.
My only problem with the Game of Thrones books is I just call them the Game of Thrones books. Just Song of Ice and Fire is there are a lot of like shock and awe. Like that's the reason why I liked them when I first started reading them when I was 15 fucking years old.
There's some anger there
because it takes forever for them to come out. But like it was like, oh wow, this like when Jamie spoilers, I guess for some of you. when Jaime Lannister loses to
Rob Stark.
Rob Stark. I don't even fucking remember the name.
He's been gone for a while. I
He's-
forgot.
Yeah, I know, but he's the one who beats him, right? And that,
Yeah.
and like it doesn't. It like even in the book, it happens basically off screen, right?
Yeah.
Like you're reading, this is what's gonna happen, and the next
All of a
little
sudden he's
break,
captured.
it's like he's
What-
captured. And you're like, I'm like,
yeah,
oh,
it's
because
read
that's what
through-
happens in real life.
Yeah.
Sometimes even if you're a legendary dude, you just fuck up and you lose sometimes. And I was like, I can appreciate that. I like that happened. Like stuff like people would die that you don't expect, and it was like, yes. But I was like, oh right, now we're 4 books in, and I don't care about any of these fucking people.
Because you know they're gonna die.
Because most
or-
of
It's
them
not
are
e-
already gone at that
I
point.
mean, the people that you
Oh,
like,
because
it's
the
like
ones you liked are dead.
Yeah, it's like
But that's kind of what, like you're saying,
Well-
like I kind of like that real life perspective.
Well, no,
it's
yeah,
like the
that's
hero
a-
doesn't always win. And
Right,
that's
right.
why some of those characters, like, that's why it's so shocking. Like, what? They're the
yeah,
hero.
Rob
It's like,
Stark. Oh my
Sean
god.
Bean. Oh my God. No.
Yeah.
It's like,
like
but it makes a lot of sense when you think about
Well,
his
it all is
casting.
leading down to Jon Snow.
right, yeah.
You know, all these were they were fake kings or whatever. You
Right.
know, it's leading to this certain point.
That's the thing is like one of my favorite my favorite author. I have all of her first copies of her hardcovers, right? And I also have one of them signed. I still would like to meet her someday, but she loves to go to only Seattle and places on.
Not that far. We can
I
drive.
mean, I know. But
Who is it?
Still, Robin Hobb. But like her series is like people die in it, but it's never the main character, right? And it's like you go through, and it's almost like sometimes it's you feel bad for the character because it's like almost like torture with what the things that he has to go through and live through. But like she has 3 trilogies that are all based on that character, and like I've been reading them since I was like 11. Like right after I started reading, I picked up the first book, which is Assassin's Apprentice, and they're high fantasy, so there's like a lot of detail. Sometimes it's slow, but then they have these giant climactic scenes, and then you deal with the consequences for a little bit, and then the second book, and they're all written from his perspective, right? Like he's writing down. He's an assassin. He's not supposed to have any copies of any of the stuff that he's done for the royal family, but he keeps
Keeping a journal.
He keeps a journal, and it's like it's funny. It's not really a spoiler because it's like how he's writing them. He'll write them and then he'll burn them, right? And you're like, well, then how am I reading this? But then like way towards the end, they kind of explain it. But it's like you're so emotionally invested in this character that things that happen in it, like people that he loves and die or whatever. And I literally sat there. I was driving to work like 3 days later, and I'm like, why? It's like
You're invested.
yeah, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
there's a connection where
Gives you a reason
like,
to care for his character.
That's good.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
that's good writing.
yeah, and so Robin Hobb, and she has some books that I haven't read, but I have like our first editions because one of them, Soldier Son trilogy, is such a slog. I mean, talk about torturing the main character. Like I couldn't get through the first book. Like I felt so fucking
Yeah.
bad for this character. And it's just like, and I'm like, hey Dad, does it get better? No,
Yeah.
it's
Let's
pretty
talk-
much his.
Let's talk about the Black Company because I could make it
Oh,
do that one.
I can't make it to that one.
Man.
What was it? Just too slow, or was it just?
I think it was a lot of military terms.
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
It was
it
a lot
is.
of introducing characters with no backstory. It was a lot of fight scenes that were just skipped entirely. There's a lot of implied battles.
Right, right.
It was just hard to get through. It was tough.
Yeah,
tough
the first one-
writing.
the
It was a
first-
lot of short sentences.
Yeah.
A lot of choppiness.
The first one is I feel is a lot like that because they're just what they do with his characters in those series is the medic his name's Croker, and it's basically that's
lot-
what you need to know about
There's a
him.
lot of
is he's
nicknames,
a
you know.
medic, right?
Yeah.
Like in the idea, like in Red versus Blue, they're like, "What's the difference between a doctor and a medic?" Well, a medic is there to as you die, and that's what they make fun of him because of Croker. All of his characters are like named things like this because that's what they do in the story,
Yeah.
right? And so, but the reason why I like the Black Company is like the main villains in the beginning, they're all like these they have like mythology. And it's also another thing I like about like the Robert Jordan series is like the
Wheel of Time.
The Wheel of Time is a great series. It's a long series, but I think it's worth, especially towards the end. The last 3 books that are written by Brandon Sanderson, he took over because Robert Jordan passed away
yeah.
while he was still writing the series. But like for the Black Company, it's these 8 or 10 like evil wizards, right? And Limper and all these weird fucking names, but they have like
Yeah.
this mythology. They're like these overpowered characters that are in the story, and like as you go further and further, like they all like the black company, these regular people taking them on and their journey like that. And I mean, eventually it just goes on and on and on. But like the Robert Jordan, their villains they're called the Forsaken, and they're these ancient wizards that all betrayed mankind, and they're like stronger than, especially like this time where everything was magic, everything was ruled by magic. Some cataclysm event happens, and then
Everybody forgets about it.
the wizards that are left around are weak compared to back in the day, and so when they come back, they're like overpowered, even though they're like, some of them are like, I wasn't even strong back then, but they have this mythology, they have this like, even everyone knows about them in history books.
Okay.
And so it's like they hear their name and they're like, Lanfear, oh my god, you know, and they
Nice.
freak out, and that's why
I like that type of style of writing because one of the authors I enjoy is Neil Gaiman.
Mhm.
And like his style of writing, he takes a mythology that you know of, that you enjoy, and just puts enough of a twist that piques your interest, and you keep reading. You can't put the books down. You're like, man, I gotta keep going. I was talking to Adam earlier. His work for American Gods, the book, is amazing. And then he's worked on Sandman, and just the idea of that universe itself is so amazing. But to know that they're actually going to expand it in the world of comic book, I'm kind of worried because I don't want other folks to come in and ruin it. You know, because the property belongs to Vertigo.
Mhm.
So it's Gaiman and Vertigo working together. So I'm hoping that Gaiman will be able to oversee everything and they follow his Bible per se, you know, so don't ruin it too much.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say, if you want like a fast-paced book, like it's one of his first. He only has 2 like series. Brent Weeks called The Way of His Shadows. It's about a wet boy, which is just, they make fun of assassins in the book, right? Like a wet boy is an assassin with magic, so they're like better, right? But, but it kind of has like, I know, I know. Every time I say it, I'm like, it's still. But
It's not derogatory, I swear.
It's like, it's paced like an action movie, right? Like you're with the characters. He'll describe the scene, but it's mostly about the characters' interactions and the actions that are, that are happening. But I fucking love that series. There's only 3 books, and then he has the Black Prism, and I can't remember what the other books are called, but there's like 4 or 5 of them, and he like completely changed how he does magic. Like it's all about colors and your irises and the colors you can see. Like,
oh damn, that's pretty dope.
And he used like each color represents a certain element, and you can do different things,
Gotcha.
and it's like completely different, and it's crazy. But like, and he's a really good author too.
Have you read any of the series by Dean Koontz, Odd Thomas series?
No, but I've heard of it.
Dude, it's really, really freaking good. I definitely recommend that. It's in that realm of like supernatural and like dealing with the world, the afterworld. Because like to sum it up real quick, it's a fry cook who inherits these abilities to see the other side of the world, and he didn't want to become a hero, but he takes on the mantle unwillingly, and he fights the whole way through. But he's starting to see the light more, being able to help people cross over and whatnot. But the whole series itself is amazing, and they made one movie. It was released on Netflix with the actor Anton
Yelchin.
Yeah, it was
passed away
really,
recently.
really good, bro. Seriously, worth checking out the movie. But of course, the book's always better.
Of course.
Right. Read the book if you have the time. Watch the movie if you haven't.
That's the one thing I do enjoy about reading the books is like it allows your imagination to flow, and then 9 times out of 10, it inspires you on an artistic level to where you want to draw about it, or you want to create your own writing for it because you're just so inspired by the work from other people.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, always watch the movie first. If
That way you're not disappointed.
So you're not disappointed.
Well, where would you see like obviously books are extremely influential for many artists, whether it be film, video games, music, whatever. Like, is there any specific examples you can think of where writing was specifically influencing towards another project, whether it be a film or like a game or something you are familiar with? Because like one example I can think of just by the title alone is a Metallica song, "The Call of Cthulhu" by H.P. Lovecraft, an old school horror writer. There's no lyrics; it's instrumental.
Did you say Cthulhu?
Cthulhu. I'm sorry, I apologize. You don't want to offend the beast. I apologize. But, Cthulhu. I'm sorry. But,
Try saying his daughter's name. Nyarlathotep.
No. You ever like try to say a word out loud that you've always read so many times, and I'm sure how that sounds, and you try to say it out loud and it just doesn't work?
I'm not sure if that's the right pronunciation.
Like I've never had to say this out loud. I'm sorry. It sounds weird. It's like there's certain comic book characters. I'm like, oh, that's how you say it? Like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
But But yeah, like I was saying, as far as influencing other forms of media, one that I brought up earlier was the game BioShock. I love this game. It was released several years ago, but it was heavily influenced by a lot of old prolific writers, one being Ayn Rand, who was known for Atlas Shrugged, and
Atlas Shrugged.
Fountainhead. And the character, the antagonist of the game, Andrew Ryan, his name is actually a take on the author of Ayn Rand. And they both have very similar philosophical views where they're about selfishness as opposed to altruism. And that's basically what the game is centered around, living in a utopian society outside of government conformity.
Yeah.
And yeah, that writing is definitely very, very prominent in that game. And, I just want to know if there's any other things like that you've seen.
I think a prime example would definitely be if you ever read 1984. Talks about Big Brother, quote unquote, and like being under a microscope or surveillance 24/7. Like,
yeah, we kind of live with that
we're
right now.
already living that. That's why, like, as a kid, I was reading 1984, and I was like, man, that's crazy. But then, like, fast forward to like the high school years, I'm like, oh shit, we're already there, dude. We're already at that level where the NSA is listening, or whatever government form is listening to our conversation right now.
Yeah, right now.
Right?
Right.
Hello, FBI Agent 337.
Hello, big brother.
Hope you like our podcast. Please
I know,
subscribe, FBI.
Read these cool books.
Right? No, but I definitely see what you mean though, Chris. Like, there's a lot of reflection throughout the art nowadays. The coolest thing is just knowing there's a big fan base for H.P. Lovecraft is amazing. Like, in the form of T-shirts, fan fiction. Like, you see it out there, dude. It's really cool.
I'm curious, where the hell did that come from? Because I knew of H.P. Lovecraft for so long, and I knew a lot of his short stories. It feels like all of a sudden the past 10 years, like it's just so
It's
mainstream
just
all of a
something,
sudden.
yeah, it's just something
Where did that
that
come
goes.
from? Even
I have
the
no idea.
last South Park game, the Fractured Butthole.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
There's a straight up
fractured
Butthole.
no, fractured asshole. But anyways, yeah, there's direct references to like they mention it so bluntly, like, oh yeah, H.P. Lovecraft, extreme racist, all this shit, like just really going into details, like when the hell did he become such a popular thing?
You're kind of latching on to whatever they can nowadays. So
Yeah.
maybe it's become, a popular genre.
I'm waiting for Edgar Allan Poe to make another comeback.
Well, see, I think they moved on from Edgar Allan Poe to Lovecraft.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's kind of what happened. We need to find another moody, horror writer.
There's a lot of moody, poor writers
But-
out there in the world, dude.
But back
Definitely,
to Lovecraft real quick. Go play Bloodborne. A lot of influence in
Bloodborne.
that. I'm not
Holy-
going to explain directly how, but you'll see some of those elements in there.
I'm always agreeing with Bloodborne.
Go play it.
But if you guys had to recommend a book, just one, either part of a series or whatever, just to get someone started into reading, what would you do? What would you recommend?
I'm a fan of bittersweet situations, so it's gonna sound weird, but I highly recommend Great Expectations. Just because
wow.
that,
Yeah, that came out of nowhere.
I know, I was
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, guys. It's just that
That's not sci-fi.
Damn. That was deep.
it's not sci-fi, but honestly, it's life. It's just the way life works sometimes. Like that book will definitely, keep you in check and make you appreciate life and stay humble. But definitely worth checking out. Though the movie version that I enjoyed was the one with Ethan Hawke.
Yeah, they made like a bunch of those movies.
Oh,
didn't
there's
they?
a bunch, but the iteration with Ethan Hawke is definitely still my top favorite of
That
Great
was with
Expectations.
Gwyneth Paltrow also, right?
Yes,
Okay. I
that is
remember
correct.
You mean
really-
Gattaca?
That's Uma Thurman, good sir.
Yeah.
Ooh. Snap.
But go ahead. What about you guys?
I think the Dragonlance series is always good. They're small books. They're easy reads. But I mean,
High fantasy.
High
if you like that.
fantasy,
So, yeah.
my fantasy choice, of course, would be the Robin Hobb one, Assassin's Apprentice. Give it a read. The beginning is a little slow because he starts off literally when he's like 6 years old. That's his earliest memories. But it's all that has that whole court intrigue, like the Game of Thrones, right? It's just one family though that basically rules this whole thing. And actually, the funny thing is when I was a kid, I was so happy when I noticed that the world map or the map of the place that they live is Alaska upside down. I was like,
Nice.
I was like,
Pretty cool.
I was like,
You're like,
hey.
that's clever.
I was like,
I like that. I like that.
For me, it would be Homeland is the first book in the Drizzt Drow Elf or Dark Elf trilogy.
yes.
It's all about how he grows up in the Drow Elf society, and then at the end of the book, it's his journey, leaving it.
Do you still have a hard
when he
copy of
calls
that?
Absolutely.
Oh, of
I'll
course.
borrow that.
Yeah.
The hunter that he calls himself, in the
Yes.
second.
It's his kind of his split personality
That's-
when he
that's-
goes into that primal just rage mode.
Yeah,
and
that's
he becomes
that's
the hunter.
That's when because I read it way later. Is that's the engine from the armor, the science
Okay.
fiction. That's basically what
Just a
what he
mental
goes-
switch,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really good. I enjoy it so much.
Had some reading to do.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have a favorite book. I didn't really know what to pick as far as favorites go. But,
Just one
well,
recommendation that you think
I'll give
folks
you a
will
couple
enjoy.
that have really stood out to me the past few years.
No problem. No problem.
If you're familiar with Corey Taylor, he is the frontman for Stone Sour and Slipknot. He's also a writer. He wrote one called Seven Deadly Sins, and it is hilarious. If you want to kind of get an idea of like how my mind works sometimes, read his books.
Is it a fiction or nonfiction?
It's it's very much nonfiction. It's a lot of like autobiographical stuff
Okay.
where he's basically saying why the seven deadly sins are not sins, mostly because he broke them all very easily.
Yeah.
And he proposes new sins that are kind of make sense.
Interesting.
It's very entertaining.
New age
it's very
sins.
funny. Just read the chapter on wrath alone. It'll just make you rethink nachos altogether. I'll just leave it at that.
Wow.
Just
All right, dude,
go
you
read
had
this
me.
book. It's
You got me.
hilarious. He's hilarious. He's wrote multiple books actually. The latest one I think it was. I have yet to get to it, and I really want to read it because I feel like it just screams my name. It's called "You're Really Starting to Piss Me Off." And I've read just a little bit. I'm like, this is the book I wanted to write.
This is my biography.
So yeah, I'll leave you that
That's
one. And then
amazing.
on a little more serious book, sort of, kind of, but more recent, more mainstream. The Martian was really, really entertaining. I read that a couple years ago. The movie is fairly well adapted, starring Matt Damon. That was entertaining on its own as well. But the book is
movie.
probably one of the funniest, yet more serious kind of sci-fi stories I've read. It's actually literally hilarious. It's mostly because
I've heard
it's-
good things about it.
Yeah, it's told through the main character's perspective, and he just has such a good sense of humor. Like if you just know that guy who's just in the most fucked up situation
Yeah.
possible, he's gonna find the bright side of it and laugh about it.
Kinda have to.
He does, and it's great. And if you can imagine being stuck on Mars by yourself for so long, like it's amazing how
That would
he's able
just
to
trip
make it
me
funny.
out.
Yeah, so-
Cabin fever, man.
yeah, dude, go read The Martian. It's
Yeah,
hilarious.
that's
crazy.
Good recommendation.
Nice.
But I had some authors that I wanted to mention: Terry Brooks, Sword of
Yes.
Shannara, of course Tolkien. Everyone, if you haven't, do your homework, read Tolkien.
You mean
Spe-
the Sword of Truth?
Huh?
The Sword of Truth.
Sword of Truth is Terry Goodkind.
Terry Goodkind, okay.
Which is funny.
Sorry.
If you read the Robert Jordan series and the Terry Goodkind series, you're going to see where they had a lawsuit between the two of them because there's a
They were
lot
pretty
of
close, huh?
well, there's things like there's certain things that are like just common,
Thematically.
like the creator, like that could be in anyone's, right? But then there's a Stone of Tear in the Terry Goodkind series where it's a little necklace, but there's a Stone of Tear in the Robert Jordan series where it's a building, and there's like things like that are like there's a truth seeker in the one series, and the whole fucking Terry Goodkind series is based on the seeker of
Just
truth.
borrowing things.
Yeah, it's like just really close. But I like actually Terry Goodkind. I think had like a really good action scenes. Like they're more detailed. Where Robert Jordan would explain how some things were, but then his fighting went into fighting stances, so it would leave it to your mind. Like the ribbon falls down the mountain or something like that. Like a like a master swordsmith or a swordsman's fighting stance, right? So you're
Okay.
like.
You're like, I'm just gonna picture this random stance now.
But the magic in that one was.
I'm just
better.
gonna picture Jet Li the whole time, just for you.
No, that's a Driss series.
That's funny.
But Terry Brooks in the Sword of Shannara series is almost like it's like high fantasy, like almost like Tolkien-esque. He also has like books that take place now, like Running with the Demon, and it's about the Void and Order, or something like the Word and the Void. Sorry, which is like good and evil that's happening like during our time. Like demons are around, but we don't know.
Okay.
Blah 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 blah. And R.A. Salvatore, like all of his stuff. Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman are the authors of the Dragonlance series, but they also have other series that are really good. L.L. Modisette, he writes something Junior, I think too. He writes the Saga of Recluse. I haven't read all of them, but they're really good. The ones that I read.
If you had to pick, so far, what movie or TV show has justified the book?
Ooh,
If you had to pick one, guys. Good luck.
didn't have enough time to think about that one.
I wrote like 3 pages of notes on books, and that was the only thing I didn't write anything for because I don't think maybe Jurassic Park. I believe Jurassic Park is based
Nothing
on a
like
book.
the book though.
It's
Is it
nothing like the book.
No, no,
Absolutely
no.
nothing like
So
the
then
book.
I never read the book, but
I would say Game of Thrones comes pretty close.
Yo, that's
The
true.
first
I mean,
season, first book, absolutely,
100%,
They're-
yeah.
absolutely the same. The Martian I just mentioned is actually
Martian?
pretty damn accurate,
Yeah.
except for the end.
There are some, but they're pretty rare. Most of the times, the books are going to be better, more detailed, a lot. You know,
The-
they're a little wordy, obviously.
the Lord of the Rings movies are
Yeah.
pretty close.
I would, you know what? I would honestly say the Lord of the Rings movies are better than the books, just because they are a little hard to read.
They are fucking slow.
They're
I
very
really
slow.
do have to
I
read
them.
them.
They're
Those are
real-
some
like-
I've never actually read. I have The Hobbit, but I've actually never read it.
The one that I
The
would,
Hobbit's an easier read. It's shorter.
The Hobbit
Okay.
is
So how did they make
masterpiece.
3 fucking 3-hour movies
because
out
they're
of that?
dumb, and I
yeah,
didn't watch
because
any
Hollywood
of them.
greed. That's why.
I didn't watch any of them. I started watching the first one, and I was like, I can't do this. I
How's
can't do this.
I kept mine pretty short and simple. I picked a couple TV shows that I enjoyed from book form, which The Strain that was on FX for a couple seasons, Justified, of course Hannibal, and the current one that's actually going on right now on Sci-Fi is The Magicians. It's a good take on magic itself in the academy.
It reminded me, Dexter, I believe, is based
Oh,
on
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
books, and
But the book's way better because the show fucked up on the last season of Dexter. They totally fucked it up.
Well, see, I didn't read all the books. I did read the very first one. It's Darkly Dreaming Dexter, I think it's called, and it's okay. I mean, it's entertaining, but the first few seasons of Dexter were just like bar none some of my favorite just
I fucking
forms of TV.
The first season of Dexter was.
It's
like-
still my
Oh,
favorite.
yeah.
I still
Pretty
love
good.
the,
I
the
enjoyed
first
the first
season,
few
and the first book is based off the first season, and it's similar but not really the same. And I don't know. I just find when you have a character like Dexter, he's very hard to find likable unless you have the right person behind that role. And you know, I'm blanking on his name.
Michael
right
C.
now.
Hall.
Michael C. Hall. Yes, he made that character so entertaining and likable. So like, depending on what you interpret,
Just his
by
creepy
reading it.
smile and bringing donuts every morning.
He's just so awkward and weird. He played it perfectly because you read it and you feel awkward reading as him. Like, this guy's fucking weird, dude. But you watch him as a show, I'm like, that makes
You're
so
like,
much
he's
more
way
sense.
more relatable.
Yeah, it was sort of. I mean, well, once you
Well, that's-
understand his psyche, but like, it just the way the characters are, interpreted, it makes
Yeah.
it more enjoyable to me. at
Oh yeah,
least.
definitely. Like I said, the first few seasons are good. Just that last season was crap, lazy writing.
Just the
That's
end.
it's the
Happens
same
to
guy
the
that
best
wrote
of 'em.
Iron Fist.
Oh, no.
Why would you do
Shocking.
that? Don't do
Oh, no.
that. Don't do that.
I hope our listener enjoy. Like I said, we're not expert per se, but this is what we enjoyed reading
Yeah.
and watching. So
If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably a little nerdy like us. You'll enjoy some of those books, hopefully. Yeah, good
Pick
recommendations.
up a good.
guys.
Good
yeah,
for your head.
definitely. You guys had some good recommendations. I'm totally interested now reading the series that you guys read. Just gonna enjoy that darkness, or the fighting and the action. Dude, totally down.
I'll give you that first book. It'll be
Yeah.
cool, guys. I think that's it. Wrap it up a little bit. Anything else you want to finish up with?
Should we? Are we doing prizes anytime soon? Not sure.
We are going to try and set up some prizes after week 10, I think. We're going to
Okay,
do...
cool.
We got 2 more weeks. We're going to do our BVS episode. We're going to argue the shit out of that.
Do we?
I was- I
Should we
was
sign a
told that-
contract
I
about
was-
keeping our friendship together
I
no
was,
matter
told,
what?
I was told that I'm not allowed to like it and still think it's a bad movie. So now I hate it. So so we're clear.
Just get off the fence.
Yeah,
Brad.
see,
gotta
I
go
think I'm just
defense.
gonna go full heel on
Feed
this
me
one
your
because
anger.
Do it.
there is no
Yes.
middle ground with this group, so I have to just be
Yeah,
full on.
we
hating
have to
on this
be
movie.
Sith.
Yeah.
We only deal in absolutes.
That's
Yeah.
It's going to be a fun episode. I think.
So you're going to absolutely go to McDonald's?
Maybe.
You just said absolute.
That's a big maybe.
Oh yeah, I know. I meant for BVS.
Yes. Watch us rip this movie apart.
Oh
No,
man,
we're gonna save it.
I do enjoy it though. Definitely, like our chats, our banter, definitely funny for sure.
We'll definitely listen up for that in a couple of weeks. Thanks everybody for listening. We really enjoyed our time, talking to y'all. So we'll see you next week.
Definitely, please
Episode
like,
9.
subscribe, listen, and enjoy.
Do all that good stuff. We love you guys.
Love you.
Later, guys.
It's gross.
How dare you?